As time passed, news about the battle of Buddha and demon in Chongzhou spread rapidly outward. First, the holy monk from the Western esoteric Buddhism attempted to convert a group of demons, which resulted in a united resistance from the Chongzhou demon practitioners. Then, the divine monk Jing Hui, who had seized a body, erupted with combat power comparable to that of a purple mansion cultivator. Lastly, the blood demon old ancestor Su Jie, the strongest devil from Qingzhou, made a sudden appearance, displaying overwhelmingly strong power. He was a genuine purple mansion cultivator who directly suppressed and killed all the high monks from the western regions. This news was too shocking, particularly Su Jie's ascension to the purple mansion realm. It became a monumental headline that spread like wildfire into every household in the Dali dynasty, among various major sects and aristocratic families. Dali City. As the capital of the Dali dynasty, it seemed disconnected from the misery of the disaster victims elsewhere in the dynasty. While countless citizens in other provinces were troubled by the lack of grain and warm clothing for winter, Dali City was still full of festivity and revelry. Wealthy merchants and nobles spent money freely, indulging in luxurious lifestyles in opulent restaurants, flower boats, and theaters, riding in carts drawn by spiritual beasts, and indulging in food and drink that commoners could hardly imagine. Even though the Dali dynasty faced numerous crises and difficulties, internally with refugees everywhere threatening the foundation of the country, and externally with the Divine Eagle Empire plundering border provinces, demanding land and payments, this couldn't dampen their carefree lives. The wealth they had could last 100 lifetimes. In the central axis of Dali City, there was a rectangular city within a city. The city stretched over 3,000 meters in length and 1,800 meters in width, with 10-meter-high walls not made of ordinary materials, but constructed of the spiritual material Kongtong stone, inscribed with formation patterns that concentrated the majestic spiritual energy of underground dragon veins. Within the city were magnificent buildings, creating a sacred and solemn atmosphere. This was the Dali Palace, the core center of power in the Dali dynasty. At this moment, in the food hall of the Dali Palace, light smoke wafted from a bronze incense burner, and a grand meeting was taking place. Civil and military officials were arranged on either side, and at the front, on a jade-stepped dragon throne, a middle-aged man wearing a black dragon robe embroidered with cloud patterns sat lazily with a weary expression, slowly speaking. "Dear ministers, the southern demonic threat worsens. A purple mansion realm great demon has emerged, killing western holy monks and uniting the Chongzhou demon path. Now, Ghost Ridge Palace Su Jie occupies both Qingzhou and Chongzhou. What are your thoughts?" The speaker was none other than the current emperor of the Dali dynasty, Yongren sect, Wei Cheng. Below, the civil and military officials stirred. Everyone had heard the news about Su Jie being a purple mansion realm great demon, which was the hottest topic in Dali City recently. "Reporting to your majesty, regarding Ghost Ridge Palace Su Jie, I believe we should not mobilize greatly. Stability should be our priority." The Minister of Revenue, Zhu Min, stepped forward, slightly bowing, conveying his viewpoint. "The South has always been a region of weak influence for us. We no longer have enough resources to pacify it. As long as that devil Su Jie doesn't cause trouble, we can confine his influence to the South and focus our main efforts on problems in other directions. Not so, I think Su Jie is no ordinary demon. His growth rate is too fast. At a young age, he has achieved the Purple Mansion. If not handled quickly, who knows what calamity he could bring in the future." The Minister of Ministry of Industry, Su Qing, immediately expressed his opposition since, if they were to take military action against Ghost Ridge Palace, the Ministry of Industry could receive large orders and make a substantial profit. "Humph. It's easy for Mr. Su Qing to say that, but that is a Purple Mansion realm devil, whose mastery of the Blood Sea devouring sky demon skill is unparalleled in Purple Mansion. Acting rashly might lead to a severe loss. I'm just expressing my opinion. Shall we simply watch Ghost Ridge Palace grow stronger? The South is an important source of tax revenue for our Dali dynasty. If demon threats sweep through, how will the gap in the treasury be filled?" The argument, starting with the Ministry of Revenue and Ministry of Industry, quickly drew more civil and military officials into the debate. However, most did not favor deploying troops to judge Ghost Ridge Palace directly. The current Delhi dynasty seemed like an old and frail elder running out of ambition and energy. Minister Yu? You are the Minister of War? What's your view? Wei Cheng, irritated by the chaotic debate, suddenly directed his gaze towards the Minister of War, Yu Jifeng. Reporting to Your Majesty, to pacify Ghost Ridge Palace, we would need at least 3,000 Xiantai dragon riders, deploy more than 10 flying magical boats, muster 80,000 military, and coordinate with Taoist platform realm generals. Currently, most of our forces are deployed in the north to guard against the Divine Eagle Empire. The southern forces are sparse, requiring deployments from the Northern Military Camp, West Army Camp, and Capital Camp, which will take a long time. We need at least half a year to prepare. Most importantly, we need the Heavenly Patrol Department to send out enough experts capable of countering Sujia, this Purple Mansion Realm Great Demon. The Ministry of War currently lacks Purple Mansion Realm experts to take on the main effort against Sujia. Yu Jifeng stepped forward to explain the difficulties faced by the Ministry of War. Last year, the Divine Eagle Empire to the north invaded the borders, and the Ministry of War of the Delhi dynasty was defeated in battle, losing cities and territory, with a severe loss of troops. The soldiers managed by the Ministry of War of the Delhi dynasty were not ordinary local county troops. The martial soldiers managed by the Ministry of War were all cultivators. The ministry recruited talented soldiers and nurtured them with blessed lands, cultivation techniques, and spirit stones, promoting them based on their enemy-killing merits and cultivation levels. For instance, the elite Xiantai dragon riders each had a cultivation at or above the 6th level of the Yunling realm, equipped with spiritual beasts like dragon blood horses, Xiantai battle armor, and magic artifacts. A centurion must have secret realm cultivation, a chili arch at least secret realm 5th level cultivation, and a commander needed to be a Taoist platform realm powerhouse to qualify. How can it be so difficult to mobilize 80,000 troops from our Delhi dynasty's registered 500,000 martial soldiers? Even if it's to guard the north and prevent the Divine Eagle Empire, the troop deployment shouldn't be this slow. A low-ranking official from the Ministry of Rights suddenly spoke, puzzled, having just been transferred from Anzhou on the eastern side to Delhi city and was unfamiliar with the affairs of the court. Many officials in Food Hall exchanged strange glances. Though it was said there were 500,000 soldiers on the register, where were there that many? Many martial soldiers were just names on a nominal roll and did not actually exist. These soldiers would forever remain only on the roll. The misuse of military stipends was quite severe in the Delhi dynasty, a commonly acknowledged fact among civil and military officials, though the small officers from other regions were still naive about it. As the military stipend for the martial soldiers was paid with spirit stones in the Delhi dynasty, a ghost stipend meant at least 15 low-grade spirit stones a month. Now, with the nation's difficult situation, the funds allocated by the National Treasury for military stipends were getting less each year. The high-ranking officials first took a share, the officials in the Ministry of War took a share, and the officers below also took a share, so 6 or 7/10 were gone by the time it was distributed to the soldiers. There was no possible way to maintain so many troops, so it was better to just have ghost stipends, benefiting all without anyone objecting, not even the imperial censor who turned a blind eye. Nobody addressed this foolish question, but Zhuo Min suddenly laughed coldly and made a suggestion. 3,000 Xiantai dragon riders, 80,000 martial soldiers, such a massive mobilization expense. Our Ministry of Revenue has no money, but I know each of you esteemed gentlemen has piles of wealth. Why not all donate a sum of spirit stones to alleviate the burden for the emperor and the dynasty? Mr. Su, I heard you just took a new concubine. Why don't you lead by example and set a model for everyone? Zhuo Min suddenly laughed coldly, proposing a suggestion. As soon as he said this, the room immediately fell silent. Su Qing, who earlier looked angry with the determination to eradicate Ghost Ridge Palace, changed his expression. He glared resentfully at Zhuo Min, then sneakily glanced at Wei Cheng on the dragon throne, who seemed half awake, gave a couple of dry laughs. Surely lords with jests. I have always been an incorruptible and honest official. How could I produce such a large sum of silver? He then gritted his teeth, making a face as if ready to sacrifice, and said, But as a member of the populace, I am willing to give all my savings, personally contributing 1,000 low-grade spirit stones to lift the troops' spirits. Zhuo Min quietly watched Su Qing's performance. Here was a rich man, able to offer 1,000 low-grade spirit stones, which was not even enough to sustain one Xiantai dragon rider. He knew how wealthy Su Qing was. He had dozens of properties, residences, and shops just in Delhi City, ran commercial teams, had many subordinates who paid him tributes, and his assets began at 5 million spirit stones. Your Majesty, you know I am always honest and love the people. All money goes to help the poor. Your Majesty, our family has been farmers for generations. I haven't spent a dime. It's all saved at home. Only around 200 spirit stones. I'm willing to donate all to the treasury to help Your Majesty resist the Qingzhou demonic threat. More and more high-ranking officials began to stand up, contribute 300, 500, some even held back entirely, swiftly gathering a total of 8,000 low-grade spirit stones, which roughly equates to the military stipend of 500 martial soldiers for a month. Dismissed, we shall discuss this matter another day. Upon hearing the massive 8,000 spirit stones, Emperor Wei Cheng of the Delhi dynasty was dazzled by the number and left the court in a huff. Quickly, rumors spread widely about the emperor soliciting donations from officials for the Demon Suppression Military Fund. Afraid the emperor was serious, officials of civil and military ranks lamented, exaggerating their poverty in numerous ways. The current head of the cabinet put his own residence up for sale. The Minister of Rights deliberately dressed in worn-out clothes to court, and instead of riding in a sedan chair, he walked to work. The most exaggerated was Kai Fengyi, the emperor's father-in-law. To show his sincerity, he offered to donate 20,000 spirit stones, but only 500 out of his own pocket. The rest was by pleading poverty to his daughter, the current empress of the Delhi dynasty. Not to embarrass herself, the empress sold her own jewelry to raise money for her father. But although she raised a full 50,000 spirit stones, only 20,000 were donated to the treasury. As for the other 30,000 spirit stones, their whereabouts remained unknown. Conversely, individuals and groups from the Delhi dynasty responded to the call, with donations from brothels and similar establishments alone exceeding 100,000 spirit stones, more than twice what all the civil and military officials combined to donate. Because of the empty national treasury, the campaign against rebels, the fight against the demon path, and the resolution of the Ghost Ridge Palace situation, naturally all came to nothing. Li City was in an uproar due to the fundraising, causing turmoil in various departments of the dynasty, with officials wailing about poverty. Yet there was one place entirely untouched by the commotion. Located to the north of Li City, there stood a towering edifice with 36 floors. The base of the tower spanned a vast area, reaching a height of 480 meters. To avoid surpassing the royal majesty, it was only slightly shorter than the tallest building in the imperial city, making it the second tallest structure in Li City. This place was precisely the headquarters of the Heavenly Patrol Department. Eldest Princess, we have arrived at the Heavenly Patrol Department. At this moment, at the entrance of the Heavenly Patrol Department, a team of royal guards was escorting a carriage to the location. When the carriage came to a halt, a woman alighted from it. She was tall and graceful, with skin as fair as snow and black hair cascading like a waterfall down to her waist. She wore a set of golden mysterious scale battle armor, fitting snugly against her curvaceous figure. At the entrance of the Heavenly Patrol Department, many cultivators came and went. Many were involuntarily captivated by the sight of the woman. Her extraordinarily beautiful face was unlike the alluring charm of ordinary women. Her eyebrows were like swords, sharp yet not lacking in elegance, adding a touch of heroism to her visage. Master Zhang. These cultivators of the Heavenly Patrol Department, upon seeing the woman, all half knelt on the ground in salutation. For the person who arrived was a treasured gem of the Delhi royal family, the eldest Princess Wei Yushuang, of incomparable nobility. Of course, if it were merely her royal status, they would salute but not so reverently. This was because Wei Yushuang was not only the eldest princess but also possessed the heavenly star true phoenix divine body, her talent comparable to that of an ancient goddess. At the mere age of 20, She had broken through to the Taoist platform realm, achieving brilliant victories against her peers, defeating numerous prodigies, and was recognized universally as having the makings of a Purple Mansion realm cultivator. Wei Yushuang nodded slightly and then walked into the Heavenly Patrol Department. After Wei Yushuang's departure, many cultivators of the Heavenly Patrol began discussing amongst themselves. The eldest princess is truly beautiful. I wonder who will be lucky enough to become the prince consort in the future. Not only is she of noble status, but she's also exceptionally powerful, with impeccable conduct, often aiding those in poverty. It's even said that after the invasion by the Divine Eagle Empire, she personally went to the northern battlefield, slaying over 10,000 enemies, fiercely crushing the arrogance of the Divine Eagle Empire. What a pity such a noble person like the eldest princess is burdened with a grandfather like that. Have you all heard about the royal father-in-law, Kai Fengyi? Who hasn't? He even embezzles money from selling his own daughter's jewelry. It's outrageous, right? It's well known in Li City how wealthy the royal father-in-law is, possessing assets worth at least hundreds of millions. Yet he's stingier than a miser. Even though their voices were lowered, their words still reached Wei Yushuang's ears. Her jade-like face darkened slightly, thinking of her own mother, the Empress, who couldn't eat or sleep well because of the fundraising issue. She felt a grudge against her grandfather. Though her mother was the Empress of the Deli dynasty, she was always frugal. Knowing that the royal family was going through hard times, she took the initiative to lead palace maids and concubines to embroider and sell crafts, supplementing the royal family's daily needs, gaining a reputation as a virtuous lady among the people. Yet, the Empress, who had led a life of integrity and frugality, was now utterly worn down by her own father's actions. With a cold expression, Wei Yushuang exuded an aura that warned others to keep their distance. Cultivators of the Heavenly Patrol along her path held their breath, not daring to speak loudly, fearing to offend Wei Yushuang, who was clearly in a bad mood. Wei Yushuang proceeded forward, inquiring with the higher-ups of the Heavenly Patrol, before reaching the top of the tower and entering a spacious observatory. The dome here was transparent, covered with 9 layers of glass, the entire observatory immersed in a blue luminescence. The floor was a massive 8-diagram array, with a giant ancient bronze bell placed at its center, surrounded by 8 dragon-pattern lamps, atop which blossomed sacred red lotus flames. The ancient bronze bell was a special spiritual treasure, and the most precious item in the observatory. Inside the observatory, there was only one man in a black brocade robe. His hair was slightly grayed, leaving his exact age indeterminate, as he gazed upwards at the stars, his eyes profound and bright. "Greetings, Master Zhang." Wei Yushuang approached and courteously saluted from afar. With her status, there were few in the world worthy of such mannerly treatment, and the person before her was certainly one. Because this was Master Zhang Qingsong, the director of the Heavenly Patrol, renowned throughout the world, a great power of the Purple Mansion realm, acclaimed as the top master of the Deli dynasty. Not only was he the stabilizer of the Heavenly Patrol, but also a pillar of the Deli dynasty. The Deli dynasty's present stability was not unrelated to him. "Between you and me, there's no need for such formality. Tell me, why have you come to see me?" Zhang Qingsong turned, his gaze kindly. He had watched Wei Yushuang grow up from a young age, having taught her for a period during her youth, familiar with her nature. "I can't hide anything from you, Uncle Zhang." Wei Yushuang stepped forward 2 paces, then spoke. "Uncle Zhang, I wish to learn the dragon capturing skill. Please teach me." "Dragon capturing skill? You plan to break through to the Purple Mansion?" Zhang Qingsong mused, looking at Wei Yushuang for a few more moments, then said, "With your foundation, accumulating for 2 more years using the dragon-suppressing Heavenly Net Divine Scripture, would make breaking through to the Purple Mansion more secure without taking such risks." The offspring of the Deli royal family all practiced the cultivation technique, dragon-suppressing Heavenly Net Divine Scripture. This technique, created by the founding great emperor of the Cave Void realm, cultivates by utilizing the dragon vein and imperial dynasty fortune. It's exceedingly domineering, reputed to be invincible within the same level. However, due to the excessive dominance, the difficulty of cultivating the dragon-suppressing heavenly net divine scripture is high. Although many royal offspring practice it, few truly achieve significant accomplishments. However, Wei Yushuang is not in this group. At a young age, she has already cultivated the dragon-suppressing heavenly net divine palace to an extremely profound level and is now a peak expert of the seventh realm of the Taoist platform. Yet, wanting to break through from the Taoist platform realm to the Purple Mansion is quite difficult, even for someone with Wei Yushuang's aptitude. This is not due to her lack of talent, but because the Deli dynasty is currently in turmoil, like a great building that is about to collapse, with the national destiny declining year after year. The royal family cultivates by relying on the dragon vein and imperial dynasty fortune, linking their own cultivation to the national destiny. When the national destiny of the dynasty wanes, it becomes increasingly difficult for cultivators practicing the dragon-suppressing heavenly net divine palace to break through in their cultivation. Even someone as strong as Wei Yushuang has been stuck at the threshold of the Purple Mansion realm for 3 years. And the dragon capturing skill does not capture beasts, but captures the dragon vein, the dragon of the earth vein. Cultivating the dragon capturing skill can forcibly confine the underground dragon vein, condensing it into one's body. This is itself a supplementary secret technique of the dragon-suppressing heavenly net divine scripture. By capturing the dragon vein into the body through the dragon capturing skill, and leveraging the violent and vast spiritual energy of the dragon vein, one can forcefully break through the realm threshold. However, this cultivation technique takes a precarious path. One either succeeds in breaking through or dies on the spot, with no third option. There was a time when the royal family was extremely obsessed with this breakthrough technique, and everyone practiced it, resulting in as many as 120 royal bloodlines dying violently within a year, including the emperor. Subsequently, it became difficult for the royal family to increase in number, as most of the royal family members didn't have the aptitude, and practicing the dragon capturing skill often resulted in violent deaths. Later, the dragon capturing skill became a forbidden technique for the royal family, sealed away in the Heavenly Patrol Department to prevent it from being recklessly used by royal family members. Uncle Zhang, I've made up my mind. I can feel the national destiny weakening. I don't want the dragon-suppressing heavenly net divine scripture to be my shackle. I need to achieve the Purple Mansion as soon as possible to save the dynasty from collapse. Wei Yushuang took a deep breath. In this current era, if the royal family can produce a Purple Mansion great power, it would be like delivering charcoal in the snow for the Deli dynasty, greatly stabilizing the turbulent situation. Zhang Qingsong deeply looked at Wei Yushuang, responding with her pursed lips and unshakable determined gaze. I will discuss it with your father. If it is possible, come see me here in 3 days. Zhang Qingsong spoke slowly. If it were any other royal family member asking for the dragon capturing skill, he would definitely refuse firmly, but this was Wei Yushuang, whose talent even moved Zhang Qingsong. Even without practicing the dragon capturing skill, if Wei Yushuang proceeded according to plan, she could successfully advance to the Purple Mansion realm within 3 years. The dragon capturing skill is a deadly poison for other royal descendants, but most likely a breakthrough nectar for Wei Yushuang. Thank you, Uncle Zhang. If father doesn't agree, I will kneel in front of his sleeping palace and not get up. Wei Yushuang's face lit up with joy. She knew her father rarely dealt with court affairs now, and as long as she could move him emotionally and reason with him, the dragon capturing skill could surely be practiced smoothly. You're still as stubborn as when you were a child. Zhang Qingsong shook his head helplessly, turned around, and continued observing the stars. Uncle Zhang, what are you divining this time? Wei Yushuang didn't rush to leave. The observatory consumes a lot of top-grade spirit stones each time it opens. She knew Zhang Qingsong was very skilled in divination and astrology, and she was curious about what he was observing this time. Observing the changes in the world and the future of the dynasty. Zhang Qingsong moved his fingers through Taoist formulas, forming an ancient and mysterious aura. The 8-diagram array beneath the observatory began to glow with a series of fluorescences. The massive array began to rotate, connecting to the divine power of distant constellations in the sky dome. The 9 layers of glass above shone with endless starlight, forming a sky dome with stars and constellations flickering in and out. Dong dong dong. The ancient bronze bell at the center of the 8-diagram array suddenly chimed deeply, mixed with faint noises. The noises sounded like the shouts of countless cultivators locked in battle, the tremors of magical treasures striking, and the sonic booms of spells and divine skills piercing through the void, resonating with a murderous aura. Wei Yushuang's face slightly changed. The aura made her skin break out in goosebumps. Zhang Qingsong's gaze turned serious, his hands constantly manipulating the Taoist formulas, continuing the deductions. On the surface of the ancient bell, several blurry human figures appeared. Some seemed to be high in the heavens, with eyes indifferent, overlooking all things like ancient immortals, ethereal and untraceable. Some were sitting cross-legged, galaxies hanging behind them, with myriad illusions, surrounded by dragons, phoenixes, and cheilants chirping in unison, heavenly tones echoing, and golden lotuses emerging from the earth, like children of heaven and earth. Some stood on misty mountain peaks, sword chi stretching 30,000 miles, flattening mountains, eradicating corruption. He. Before me, who dares proclaim supremacy? Suddenly, a burst of wild laughter rang out. Within the ancient bronze bell, a wildly arrogant and domineering figure seemed to stand tall in the sky, waving a single arm, eclipsing the heavens. Crack! Cracks appeared on the ancient bronze bell, the special spiritual treasure resembling cracked porcelain, with more and more fissures, finally turning into a pile of fragments. All 8 coiled dragon lamp pillars extinguished, and the observatory fell silent again. All mystical sounds vanished as if what had just happened was a mere illusion. Uncle Zhang, what happened? Wei Yushuang felt the terrifying aura dissipate, looked towards Zhang Qingsong, wanting to know the result of the astrological observation just now. Zhang Qingsong crossed his hands behind his back, looking at the now still sky dome above. There, many falling fireflies beautified the scene like falling stars, hitting the observatory's coiled dragon beams, scattering fine starlight. After a long silence, Zhang Qingsong lifted his head and said, "Mars guarding the heart. The Emperor's star is about to fall." What? Wei Yushuang's body stiffened, and a wave of fear instantly spread. This is the fiercest celestial omen, foreseeing the fall of the dynasty. She couldn't believe this was the outcome of the divination. "I won't let anyone bring down the Dali dynasty. As the eldest princess, I will not let anyone overthrow the dynasty," she declared. Zhang Qingsong, deeply moved, nodded slowly. "The repairs will require 3,000 spirit stones," he added, gesturing to the damage caused by the earlier supernatural occurrences, cracks spreading like a spider's web across the plaza. Wei Yushuang's face brightened, knowing that with her father's influence, she would be able to practice the dragon-suppressing heavenly net divine scripture successfully. "Oh, you are still as stubborn as when you were a child," Zhang Qingsong said with resignation, turning back to continue his stargazing. After leaving the Heavenly Patrol Department, Wei Yushuang did not take a carriage but rode a dragon blood horse, navigating through the streets and alleys. Dragon blood horses are a special breed cultivated by the Dali dynasty, capable of traversing mountains as if on flat ground. Even the most ordinary dragon blood horse can cover 1,000 miles in a day, and once armored, it can charge in formation, breaking through mountains and rivers. Out of the hundreds of thousands of soldiers in the Dali dynasty, only a select group of 10,000 elite Shentai dragon riders have the privilege to be equipped with such dragon blood horses. Moreover, it is said that the dragon blood horse has a trace of the true dragon bloodline in its body, though the veracity of this claim is unverified. But a powerful dragon blood horse, like the one Wei Yushuang is riding, standing at a shoulder height of 2 meters and 20, its red dragon scales glimmer like molten iron in the twilight, and a spiral dragon horn grows on its head with a fierce look. Its golden vertical pupils exude a human-like pride, and its 4 hooves, like clouds, leave behind large clusters of blue-purple sparks on the ground that slowly disperse over seconds. Wei Yushuang walked and stopped intermittently, observing the current state of Delhi city. In the main urban area, it is naturally bustling and lively, people shoulder to shoulder, luxurious places like restaurants and theaters brightly lit day and night, with patrons all wealthy, spending lavishly. But outside the main city area, beyond the city are sprawling tent camps. As the capital, Delhi city draws many refugees instinctively during times of natural and man-made disasters, hoping to find a chance of survival here, even if begging, as the wealthy in Delhi city are more abundant, enabling more profitable begging. However, upon truly reaching Delhi city, these refugees find themselves unable even to enter the city. Because the city lords cannot stand such human suffering, they refuse entry to the refugees. This led to a large number of refugees with nowhere to go, building dense tent camps surrounding Delhi city, many coming from the north to escape military calamities from the divine Eagle Empire. Separated by a wall, it appears as if two worlds. Inside Delhi city, indulgence runs rampant, yet outside, refugees are everywhere, with deaths from starvation and illness occurring daily, amidst countless desolate graves. Use these spirit stones to buy some grain and distribute porridge to these people. By the way, what's the current grain price? Wei Yushuang took out some spirit stones, handing them to her guard team, instructing them to purchase and distribute food. The head of the guard team stepped forward, saying, "Reporting to the eldest princess, the current grain price is 1 tael of silver for a stone of rice. It's dropped a bit." Wei Yushuang was slightly surprised. She is not one of those pampered flowers detached from worldly matters. Indeed, the grain price is not particularly cheap, yet compared to current circumstances it's considered decent. Last year, grain prices soared until 4 taels of silver were needed to buy a stone. It's said that Qingzhou had a bountiful harvest this year, and much Qingzhou rice was transported via the canal, significantly lowering grain prices. The head guard explained, answering the question. Qingzhou. Wei Yushuang's expression turned strange upon hearing the word. Qingzhou is indeed a major grain-producing state of the Delhi dynasty, but wasn't it occupied by Ghost Ridge Palace? Recently, the primary reason for discussions in the court about donations is because of Ghost Ridge Palace. Wei Yushuang thought that since Qingzhou fell into Ghost Ridge Palace's hands, the local people would surely be devastated, with no energy left for farming. But now, the situation is somewhat unexpected. Qingzhou seems untouched by Ghost Ridge Palace's demon sect rule, and appears to be thriving, which is quite uncanny. Check out the reports concerning Qingzhou for me later. Wei Yushuang ordered briefly, no longer lingering. There are too many refugees here, and her abilities are limited. Unconsciously, Wei Yushuang felt an even stronger urge to advance to the Purple Mansion realm. Once she achieves the Purple Mansion status, she will be able to do more. Leaving her guard team to distribute grains to the refugees, Wei Yushuang rode her dragon blood horse alone, returning to her residence. On the way back, it started to drizzle, the fine rain falling gently, and many pedestrians hurried along. Wei Yushuang activated her spiritual power, causing the rain to simply slide off her golden battle armor, unable to truly touch her body. "I don't care. I'm going to find Su Jie." Suddenly, when passing a street, Wei Yushuang heard two very sensitive words. Su Jie, the newly risen Purple Mansion demon, recently renowned in the Delhi dynasty, a figure even the dynasty can't send troops to deal with. Wei Yushuang turned her head towards the direction of the voice. She saw a girl wearing a light purple short shirt, with bright eyes and white teeth, hair coiled up, a rosy lips and watery apricot eyes glowing with spirit light, and willow leaf eyebrows naturally carrying a touch of playfulness, at this moment puffing her cheeks as if sulking. Opposite her stood a woman holding an oiled paper umbrella, dressed in a plain long blue dress, with black hair hanging down her waist, eyes like autumn water, porcelain white skin, a gaze shimmering like countless stars falling, making her presence radiant. Her long hair swayed lightly as the fine rain brushed, and her face, bright as jade, exuded an ethereal quality, seemingly standing under the rain yet appearing as though she does not exist, a very contradictory and strange feeling. Wei Yushuang recognized the two, sisters Ning Xinyue and Ning Yunying, rumored to be from a certain overseas holy land. What are you going to find him for? You're just at the Taoist platform realm, while that man has already reached the Purple Mansion. Whether he acknowledges you is still up for debate. Ning Yunying poked her sister's delicate porcelain-like cheek, casually rejecting her sister's request. Su Jie would never do that, and besides, I'm your sister with the Shenin body, destined to become an immortal and ancestor, while Su Jie is simply a step ahead. I will surely catch up to him later. Ning Xinyue wrinkled her delicate nose, swinging her pink fists, showing complete disregard for her sister Ning Yunying's words. If you don't work hard, you'll never catch up with him in your lifetime. Su Jie has grown from a little demon cultivator to a great magnate of the demon path, and you're still stuck in the Taoist platform realm. How can you have the guts to go looking for him? Ning Yunying flicked her sister on the head without a hint of politeness. Ow! Ning Xinyue covered her forehead and said angrily, I don't care. Li City is so boring. I want to hang out with Su Jie. It's so much better there. This time they're even going to kill those baldies from the western regions. I love it when the blood flows like rivers. Miss Ning. At this moment, Wei Yushuang dismounted and came up to Ning Yunying. So it's Princess Wei. Ning Yunying's expression was indifferent, only nodding slightly, not showing the kind of excitement most people would have upon seeing the princess. To Ning Yunying, no matter how noble Wei Yushuang's status, she was merely someone Ning Yunying had defeated. Plus, when it comes to status, it's hard to say who is more noble. Just call me Yushuang. Wei Yushuang spoke, her eyes somewhat complex as she looked at Ning Yunying. From childhood, she had never been defeated, triumphing over countless sect prodigies. Yet she stumbled on Ning Yunying. This is why Wei Yushuang wished to advance to the Purple Mansion realm, to regain her footing and challenge Ning Yunying again. Is there something you need? Ning Yunying grabbed with her left hand in the air, and from not far away, Ning Xinyue, who was planning to sneak away, was pulled back by a force. I just overheard that Miss Ning has some connection with Su Jie. That great demon head? Wei Yushuang said seriously, knowing that Ning Yunying was from overseas and Su Jie should be a local demon cultivator from Qingzhou. We've met once. Ning Yunying seemed to know what Wei Yushuang was thinking and saw right through it, saying, I have no interest in involving myself in the struggle between your dynasty and the demon path. It has nothing to do with me. Wei Yushuang breathed a sigh of relief. No one understood more than her how strong Ning Yunying, the opponent who defeated her, was. Even if she advanced to the Purple Mansion realm, she had no confidence in a match against Ning Yunying. If Ning Yunying stood on Su Jie's side, it would undoubtedly be terrible news for the Deli dynasty. I'm the most familiar with Su Jie. If I were in Qingzhou when Su Jie attacked Guanchao Pavilion and the Western Baldi, I'd jump in to help fight. By then, my name would definitely spread all over the world. However, Ning Xinyue was hopping around looking proud, not catching the subtext in Wei Yushuang's words. Wei Yushuang's mouth twitched. The Deli royal family had just had a big commotion over Su Jie, almost leading to military action. Su Jie, a demon cultivator giant of the Qingzhou demon path, not only advanced to the Purple Mansion but also annexed Chongzhou, consolidating into a powerful force, naturally becoming a thorn in the side and a nail in the flesh of the Deli royal family, threatening their status. At this critical juncture, most people would prefer to distance themselves from Su Jie. Even if there were connections, they would pretend there weren't. For Ning Xinyue to openly admit it so eagerly, acting as if she and Su Jie were inseparable friends, was indeed rare. If it were someone else, just for saying such things, Wei Yushuang would have reason to take them back for a thorough investigation. But the one speaking was Ning Xinyue. It's not that she feared Ning Xinyue, but rather valued the person standing behind her, Ning Yunying. Quiet. Ning Yunying shot her sister a look, then said to Wei Yushuang, My sister is reckless in her speech. It was purely unintentional. I understand. Wei Yushuang didn't say much more. Instead, she asked, Miss Ning, what do you think of Su Jie? A very determined hero. Ning Yunying said casually. Just determined? Wei Yushuang pressed on, feeling this response was too perfunctory. Perhaps very talented in cultivation too. Ning Yunying added, leaving Wei Yushuang speechless. For Su Jie to achieve the Purple Mansion realm at such a young age was, in Ning Yuning's eyes, just a bit of talent. In that comparison, what did she count as having yet to reach the Purple Mansion? My sister doesn't easily praise people, Ning Xingyue said to Wei Yushuang, feeling quite proud. Even the prodigies of other holy lands never easily received her sister's praise, usually only getting a barely passable, needs more practice. It shows that this kind of assessment is already a great compliment. I advise your royal family not to trouble Su Jie. With my understanding of him, you won't be able to handle him. Ning Xingyue cheekily offered her suggestion, not at all fearing Wei Yushuang's status. We will make our own decisions on this matter. Wei Yushuang took a glance at Ning Yuning, then mounted her horse and left Chongzhou, within the courtyard of the Desire Sex Mountain Gate. Su Jie was unaware of the widespread discussion sparked in Daly City because of him. At this moment, he was leisurely sipping tea and admiring flowers in the Desire Sex Garden. What exactly do you want to do with me? Everything valuable on me is already in your hands. Beside him, Qin Yushang followed closely, having been held captive by Su Jie for several days now. Yet he neither killed her nor harmed her, simply not allowing her to leave. Seeing her injuries almost fully healed, Qin Yushang's desire to escape grew even stronger. She had no clue what Su Jie intended. Clearly all her belongings, including the Green Phoenix Red Flood Dragon fan and storage bag, had been taken by Su Jie. Yet he still refused to let her go. Stopping his steps amidst the vibrant garden, Su Jie scrutinized Qin Yushang, making her feel quite uncomfortable, subconsciously crossing her arms over her chest. A person is inherently valuable, especially a beautiful woman at the 7th realm of Taoist platform, likely to advance to the Purple Mansion. Su Jie chuckled, a meaningful smile revealing itself. The last time I captured a woman as beautiful as you, it was during the Righteous Sect Genius capture in Qingzhou, and their auction prices were quite substantial. Shua. Upon hearing this, Qin Yushang's face changed dramatically. You want to auction me? Qin Yushang was shocked by Su Jie's words. She had heard about Su Jie's previous auctions of Righteous Sect geniuses, finding it incredibly unbelievable at the time, this kind of act undoubtedly a massive humiliation for the person involved. Especially since Qin Yushang represented the Heavenly Patrol Department. If such news spread, how would others perceive the Heavenly Patrol Department? Imagining that scenario, Qin Yushang suddenly raised her hand, aiming a slap at her own temple, divine power swirling in her palm, intending to make it deadly. Because she knew that with her strength, defeating Su Jie was nothing but a pipe dream. Therefore, the slap targeted herself. She would rather commit suicide than allow Su Jie to use her to humiliate the Heavenly Patrol Department. Bang! With a dull thud, Qin Yushang's hand stopped in mid-air, as Su Jie grabbed her arm. TSK. Your temperament is truly something else. Su Jie shook his head, never having seen such a woman before. Previous captures like Mo Shiryao in the Righteous Sect had never shown such courage to suicide. Qin Yushang struggled, but how could she be a match for Su Jie? Especially with her injuries not fully healed? Kill me. I will never become your tool to humiliate the Heavenly Patrol Department. Qin Yushang gritted her silver teeth, an orphan taken in by the director of the Heavenly Patrol Department, raised there from a young age. It was her home, and she would never allow Su Jie to use her to disgrace it, which was more painful than death. When did I say I would auction you? It's you who misunderstood my words. Su Jie let out a helpless laugh, denying the auction matter. Really? Qin Yushang was skeptical because she felt that Su Jie was really capable of such an auction. First time could lead to a second. Who knew what Su Jie was thinking? Think for yourself, with your status and identity, who could afford to buy a 7th realm Taoist platform expert, and even if they could afford it, they wouldn't dare offend the Heavenly Patrol Department. Auctioning you would result in no bids. I'm not that stupid. Su Jie spread his hands, explaining his reasoning. Qin Yushang thought it made sense, relaxing a bit at Su Jie's words. So, what exactly do you want me to do? Qin Yushang regained her composure, even more perplexed about Su Jie's intentions. Su Jie was about to speak when suddenly someone hurried over. A beautiful woman approached, None other than the Desire Sect's sect master Inlay Bai. Sect Master Su, something has happened. One of our disciples out on a mission discovered that the Sky Wolf Village is making a move, likely preparing to relocate their entire sect away from Chongzhou. Inlay Bai stated her reason for coming, mentioning that the Sky Wolf Village was a medium-strength demon sect in Chongzhou, with a sect master at the first level of the Taoist platform realm. Oh, there are still those who are reckless. Su Jie squinted his eyes, a cold smile across his face. Clearly, regarding the upcoming transformations in Chongzhou by the Ghost Ridge Palace, placing many restrictions particularly forbidding the arbitrary harm of common folk, the Sky Wolf Village refused to accept such conditions, preferring to quietly move away rather than remain in Chongzhou under Su Jie's control. Relocating an entire sect was no simple task, as most territories were occupied. Unfamiliar relocations involving land, resources, blessed zones, morale, and more were significant issues, arising conflicts during the move, and disciples might easily grow disloyal, choosing to live a wandering life and often fleeing. Passing through others' sect territories during relocation could provoke surrounding predators, eyeing the sect's cultivation techniques and resources, levying protection fees at best, or leading to battles at worst. Even finding a place to settle might invite local forces targeting, possibly resulting in the sect's annihilation. For example, back then the Heavenly Soul Sect, the largest demon sect in Jingzhou, moved to Qingzhou and suffered heavy losses along the way. If the Qingzhou Tide-Watching Pavilion hadn't been busy dealing with the Ghost Ridge Palace, they wouldn't have let them settle peacefully. This is also why, even though the righteous sects in Qingzhou accepted Su Jie's rule, they refused to relocate. The best territories already had owners and there was nowhere for them to go, unless they forcibly fought to seize a peace, but that was easier said than done. Therefore, hearing that the Sky Wolf Village chose to move their entire sect instead of staying in Chongzhou, Su Jie was somewhat surprised. However, after the surprise, Su Jie smiled. Initially, he thought that with the head of the Western region's monk, there was no need to make an example by killing the chicken to scare the monkey. But he couldn't resist when someone jumped out voluntarily. Thinking of this, Su Jie directly summoned the Thousand-Hand Centipede and, bringing Inlay Bai and Qin Yushang, escaped into the clouds. Half an hour later, towards the direction of the Luochuan River from Chongzhou to Jingzhou, a large fleet composed of over 100 ships was sailing mightily. This fleet was the relocation team of Sky Wolf Village, with over 6,000 people from the entire sect on board. Heavenly might! Suddenly, a cold voice came from the clouds, and with its words, a massive purple thunder dragon descended from the sky. Rumble! The thunder dragon swept over the Luochuan River, smashing more than a dozen merchant ships into powder, while the disciples and elders of Sky Wolf Village inside didn't even have time to respond and were all turned into charred ashes by the lightning.
It's Suye coming.
It's over, we're finished. Who leaked the secret? Run! When these Sky Wolf Village demon practitioners looked up and saw the 100-meter-long Thousand-Hand Centipede falling from the clouds above, they all fell into despair. Inlay Bai, was it you? You bitch, who leaked the secret? A figure flew into the sky as the sect master of Sky Wolf Village screamed with both anger and fear, looking at Su Jie on the Thousand-Hand Centipede's back, and behind him Inlay Bai and Qin Yushang, furious and frightened. Seeing Inlay Bai, he immediately understood everything. The disciples of the Desire sect run brothels and inns, which are very well informed. Their Sky Wolf Village had acted in secrecy, but it must have been the Desire sect that leaked the secret to please Su Jie. Sect Master Chun, you ignore the kindness of Sect Master Su and leave Chongzhou without permission. Of course, our Desire sect cannot pretend not to see. Inlay Bai laughed gracefully. Betraying allies is no big deal to them demon cultivators. Besides, she wasn't even familiar with Sky Wolf Village. Sect Master Su, our Sky Wolf Village just wanted to leave Chongzhou. Do you really have to exterminate us? The Sky Wolf Village sect master's voice weakened, adopting a pleading tone. Instead of being a good dog, you choose to leave home and walk your path of death. You have chosen your own way. Su Jie looked at the other party expressionlessly, opened his left hand, and struck downwards. Boom! Violent spiritual power formed a giant hand covering the skies, smashing down on Sky Wolf Village in a single strike, exploding it instantly. Su Jie then patted the thousand-hand centipede's head, saying, "Shao Qian, go and annihilate them. Don't let a single one go." Sizzle. The thousand-hand centipede nodded and flew towards the Luochuan River. What followed was naturally a brutal and inhumane massacre. Under the bloodbath of the top grade 8 refinement goo, none of the over 6,000 disciples of the Sky Wolf Village were spared. Witnessing all this, Yin Leibai and Qin Yushang gained an even deeper fear of Su Jie's ruthlessness and decisiveness. Shortly after the annihilation of the Sky Wolf Village, the transformation of Chongzhou under the Ghost Ridge Palace officially began. Some cultivators from the Ghost Ridge Palace with experience in transforming Qingzhou were dispatched to Chongzhou for targeted transformation. Compared to Qingzhou, the transformation of Chongzhou was more challenging. The residents of Chongzhou had long been harmed by various demon sects, and they felt deep-rooted fear towards demon cultivators. They were also distrustful and wary of the Ghost Ridge Palace, an outsider demon cultivation sect, which brought considerable difficulties to the work of the Ghost Ridge Palace. Besides, the demon sect forces in Chongzhou, accustomed to rampant behavior, were relatively more rebellious compared to the righteous sect in Qingzhou. Even though the high levels of the Chongzhou demon sects expressed submission to the Ghost Ridge Palace and Su Jie, the great demon of the Purple Mansion, some of them still couldn't grasp the situation and continued their murder cultivation after the Ghost Ridge Palace's arrival. In a large forest, there are always all sorts of birds. Those demon practitioners who couldn't see the situation naturally became the primary targets of the Ghost Ridge Palace. The Ghost Ridge Palace directly captured these criminal demon cultivators and then gathered the local residents, beheading them in public. This iron-blooded slaughter severely deterred those restless demon cultivators, and it also showed the local residents the attitude of the Ghost Ridge Palace. They understood that the Ghost Ridge Palace genuinely intended to transform Chongzhou for the better and would no longer allow demon cultivators to kill at will. This made subsequent transformations much easier for the Ghost Ridge Palace, and more Chongzhou residents sincerely joined under their rule. Such behavior by the Ghost Ridge Palace naturally made the arrogant demon cultivators in Chongzhou very dissatisfied. However, since their sect leaders were too afraid to speak out, these disciples' mere dissatisfaction would be of no use. Conversely, those demon sect leaders knew their disciples had acted recklessly, so most of them proactively took action. Without needing Ghost Ridge Palace to act, they themselves captured and handed over the offending disciples to the Ghost Ridge Palace, even kneeling before Su Jie to apologize and paying a large sum of resources. This was because they feared Su Jie's deadly wrath, as demonstrated with the Sky Wolf Village, could do the same to their sects. The transformation work in Chongzhou was proceeding in a methodical manner. With the example of Sky Wolf Village, other Chongzhou demon sect forces were intimidated into silence and cooperated completely. Just as Su Jie was about to return to Qingzhou's Ghost Ridge Palace, a message from Qingzhou arrived at Chongzhou's Desire sect first, outside the residence. Accompanied by Yin Leibai, Taoist Qiu and Lu Yingying arrived together. "Master, Yingying, you've had a long and tiring journey." Su Jie walked out from inside, meeting the two face-to-face. "Sect Master, you've really advanced to the Purple Mansion?" At the sight of him, Taoist Qiu was particularly excited. After the news of Su Jie advancing to the Purple Mansion and defeating the Western region's Saint Monk reached Qingzhou, the entire region was shaken. The righteous sects of Qingzhou were filled with fear and unease, while Ghost Ridge Palace was abounding in excitement, feeling proud and honored. The Purple Mansion realm, the strong ones of this level, stood at the pinnacle of the Dali dynasty. Taoist Qiu never could have imagined that the joke he made, "My disciple Su Jie has the potential for the Purple Mansion," would someday come true. "Master, it's merely the Purple Mansion realm. As the sect master of Ghost Ridge Palace, how could I not have the cultivation of the Purple Mansion realm to lead Ghost Ridge Palace to glory?" Su Jie chuckled softly without any modesty. At this stage, there was little that could make him be humble. Good. Congratulations to the sect master on achieving great success in demon technique. There is hope for our Ghost Ridge Palace's revival. Taoist Qiu was deeply gratified, looking at Su Jie with a gaze full of comfort and pride. Having taken Su Jie as a disciple, it was indeed a blessing for Ghost Ridge Palace and also for himself, Taoist Chiu. Even in the history of Qingzhou, due to Su Jie's presence as a Purple Mansion realm expert, Taoist Chiu's name was destined to be recorded in history. Su Jie, when will you become #1 in the world? Lu Yingying's bright eyes sparkled. Although her cultivation was still at the Yunling realm, having come to Ghost Ridge Palace, she was no longer an ignoramus about cultivation. The 4 realms of Yunling, Secret Treasure, Taoist Platform, and Purple Mansion become increasingly difficult as one progresses. A Purple Mansion expert with the Yang God Dharma image can disrupt the sun and moon above, the constellations displaced. Below, it can cause drought and flood, all things wither. Imagine the significance of a cultivator of this realm. A mere breath could wipe out a group of little cultivators at the Yunling stage. Lu Yingying knew that with Blue Star as his foundation, she had no doubt that Su Jie would become invincible in the Dali dynasty. It was only a matter of time. Soon, Su Jie smiled gently, ruffling Lu Yingying's hair as he led them into the tea room. In Lei Bai, perceptive, began pouring tea, taking on the role of a maid despite being a sect master. Sect master, this is a letter from Esoteric Buddhism. They want us to give an account of the death of holy monk Aiti Gelua. Taoist Chiu sat down and drank a cup of tea, finally speaking of the serious matters at hand as he took out a gilded war token and placed it on the table in front of Su Jie. Esoteric Buddhism. Su Jie opened the war token, which was written in both Sanskrit and Dali's language with a clear meaning. Esoteric Buddhism already knew that Su Jie had killed their holy monk. They demanded Su Jie go to Lingzhou Mountain, where the main temple of Esoteric Buddhism was located, to surrender and repent. Otherwise, one day Esoteric Buddhism would invade with their entire sect to eliminate evil and uphold justice. After Su Jie finished reading, the war token suddenly emitted a golden glow, and the phantom of a high monk with a compassionate face, snow-white beard, and a halo of Buddha light behind his head appeared, chanting Buddha's voice. Amitabha Buddha, the sea of suffering is boundless. Does the benefactor not lay down the butcher's knife and become a Buddha on the spot? Under the Buddha light illuminating from the high monk's halo, the world turned completely serene. Taoist Chiu's eyes momentarily showed a dazed struggle, as if he was filled with endless regret for the killings he had done in the past. Lu Yingying too harbored a haze of wisdom for her involvement in establishing the Jekka group on Blue Star, remorseful for the wars she had participated in up to her current rise. Charlatans! Su Jie sneered dismissively. In the void, countless pale corpse hands like a swarm of snakes bit and tore apart the phantom of the high monk, instantly suppressing the Buddha light. Taoist Chiu and Lu Yingying came back to their senses, their backs already soaked with cold sweat. A moment ago, they almost had the absurd idea of cutting off their 7 emotions and 6 desires, and shaving their heads to leave home. Divine Monk Batu Gu Fanji. Startled by the Buddha light, a graceful figure appeared outside the tea room. Seeing the phantom of the high monk, her eyes revealed a trace of shock. It was Qin Yushang. Boom! Under the twist of the pale corpse hands, the high monk's phantom shattered, dispersing into pure spiritual power, and the golden Buddha light naturally dissipated as well. Su Jie slowly looked towards Qin Yushang and asked, "Is this old bald donkey called Batagu Fanji?" Qin Yushang nodded repeatedly, her gaze fixed on the war token placed on the table, and explained, "Esoteric Buddhism has 3 great divine monks. Batagu Fanji, Awadi Paluo, Yakub Shadi. Each of these monks is a Purple Mansion realm cultivator, with profound Buddhist teachings and immeasurable strength. When Esoteric Buddhism rose, there were once 36 countries in the Western regions, but some countries were unwilling to submit to Esoteric Buddhism. So, Esoteric Buddhism slaughtered the royal families of 20 countries in one night, leading to there being only 16 countries now in the Western regions. Qin Yushang recounted the events, stating that Esoteric Buddhism had risen within only a few hundred years, yet had produced 3 Purple Mansion realm divine monks, enabling Esoteric Buddhism to dominate the Western regions decisively. The 3 Purple Mansion divine monks were enough to overwhelm the various countries in the Western regions. 3 Purple Mansion monks. Taoist Chiu gasped in astonishment upon hearing this number, his heart stirred by the shocking waves. The Ghost Ridge Palace had 1 purple mansion, but esoteric Buddhism had a full 3, and they were old monsters alive for at least 200 to 300 years. Even with Su Jie stationed at Ghost Ridge Palace, there's a lingering sense of unease. Lu Yingying instinctively grasped Su Jie's arm. She knew her man was a purple mansion, but the opponents were 3 purple mansion monks, 3 against 1. She definitely worried for Su Jie's safety. This secret token? Could it be esoteric Buddhism questioning the affair with the Jalua saint monk? Yes, esoteric Buddhism has always acted domineeringly. If given an excuse to intervene in the Deli dynasty, they certainly wouldn't let it go easily. Upon seeing the war token on the table, Qin Yushang had already guessed the reason. Esoteric Buddhism's act of slaughtering 20 countries in one night already proved they weren't kind-hearted. Now that Su Jie has eliminated their saint monk Jalua and crushed Jing Hui divine monk's Yang God, it's absolutely intolerable for esoteric Buddhism. Knowing esoteric Buddhism's ways, it would be strange if they didn't seize this opportunity to make trouble. You really guessed it right. Those bald donkeys want me to give an explanation. Su Jie lay back on the chair, crossed his legs and said, "These bald donkeys, after having their people killed, come to settle accounts afterwards and want me to give an explanation? I would give my grandma's leg. It's simply a joke." The dignified giant of the demon path, bowing down to Buddhism, they really dare to imagine. I haven't even looked for trouble with those bald donkeys yet. Coming to cause trouble in Chongzhou, don't they know Chongzhou is my territory? Su Jie's tone carried an arrogant flair. He was confident in his strength, although the 2 purple mansion monks he had slain so far were in a somewhat disabled state. Yet Su Jie was very aware of his own strength. Even against a mid-stage purple mansion powerhouse, Su Jie wasn't at all afraid, not to mention he has many trump cards. If esoteric Buddhism thinks 3 purple mansion monks can scare him, then they are purely overthinking it. Qin Yushang was somewhat speechless, wanting to retort when Jalua Saint Monk came to Chongzhou. "Chongzhou wasn't your territory yet, you're really reversing cause and effect." "Humph. Our Ghost Ridge Palace has even overturned the righteous sect, and external Buddhism also wants to act fiercely." Even though Taoist Chiu was internally tense, shocked by the reputation of 3 purple mansion monks, his stance did not change, aligning himself with his disciple, the sect master. "Right, there's nothing to fear." Lu Yingying nodded her little head. In her heart, if they really couldn't beat esoteric Buddhism, they could just flee back to Blue Star. After all, Blue Star still holds a large foundation. They could live in enjoyment without worries for a lifetime, standing at the pinnacle of power in Blue Star. This was why Lu Yingying wasn't very worried. If esoteric Buddhism has the capability, let them fight their way to Blue Star. However, Qin Yushang wasn't part of Ghost Ridge Palace. Upon hearing this, she couldn't help but say, "Su Jie, don't think esoteric Buddhism is just joking. The esoteric Buddhism, under the banner of saving the world, actually acts domineeringly. Any sect or royal family discontent with them in the western regions has been cleared out. They've long been coveting our Deli dynasty, wanting to seize the Deli lands. This time they sent Jalua Saint Monk to probe. If they enter southern Deli dynasty under the guise of eliminating demons and defending the Tao, the Deli royal family may not intervene. By then, Qingzhou might change ownership, and your Ghost Ridge Palace would vanish. It's better to explain to esoteric Buddhism before the situation worsens, temporarily avoiding their edge." Qin Yushang had complex feelings towards Su Jie. Su Jie wasn't an ordinary devil. He did not harm common folk, but instead had developed Qingzhou prosperously under his rule. Even Chongzhou, a place plagued by demonic chaos, started to be orderly managed, as Qin Yushang had personally witnessed. Compared to the zombie-like populace under the rule of esoteric Buddhism, Qin Yushang would rather Ghost Ridge Palace maintain the order of Qingzhou. Moreover, Qin Yushang understood the current state of the Deli royal family. If esoteric Buddhism used the pretext of eliminating demons and defending the Tao, the royal family might harbor a mindset of watching tigers fight from a distance and might not dispatch troops to block esoteric Buddhism. Qin Yushang's biggest worry was esoteric Buddhism possibly occupying Qingzhou. a major grain-producing state in the southern Daili dynasty, and refusing to leave. With esoteric Buddhism's ambition, they certainly could do such a thing. I avoid their edge? My sword is not unsharp. Su Jie's eyes were rebellious, with a tumultuous blood-sea phantom image faintly appearing behind him, as a blood-red long sword condensed in his hand. As he spoke, Su Jie slashed through the air, splitting the sky dome, and a blood-colored abyss spanning 10,000 meters across appeared, as though the heavens were bleeding. Sizzle! The thousand-hand centipede also crawled out from Su Jie's robe, brandishing claws and arms, indicating it could fight well. Su Jie crossed his arms behind his back, sneering, "You Daili dynasty fear esoteric Buddhism, but that doesn't mean we at Ghost Ridge Palace fear them. Just some external evil monks want to act fiercely above me. One day, I shall trample Buddhism and flaunt the demonic path." Qin Yushang looked up at the blood-colored abyss overhead, where purple cloud heavenly thunder raged, and millions of pale corpse hands clung to the outer edges, like a blood-colored centipede covered with thunder insect armor, sporting millions of human hands. Under such terrifying might, she felt as if millions of slugs were crawling over her body, with goosebumps rising over her skin. For a moment, Qin Yushang was speechless. Su Jie's display of such dominance and absolute strength rendered all she could say exceedingly ridiculous. The gap in strength between them meant her words wouldn't affect Su Jie's resolve at all. "Who is this?" Lu Yingying couldn't suppress her curiosity and asked about Qin Yushang's identity at this moment. The appearance of Qin Yushang made her wary, because the opposing party's beauty was too high, with an ice-cold purity and ethereal grace, a world-class beauty that could rival the likes of legendary beings. The tone used with Su Jie earlier had made Lu Yingying more alert. "Oh, the White Tiger Hall Master of the Heavenly Patrol Department, but currently a prisoner." Su Jie shrugged, restrained his aura, sat back in his chair, and replied nonchalantly, "Heavenly Patrol Department? White Tiger Hall?" Taoist Chiu and Lu Yingying were both taken aback at the same time. This identity was beyond their expectations. The Heavenly Patrol Department was the most powerful cultivator institution of the Daili dynasty, arguably the most powerful violent institution, its status above hundreds of thousands of military soldiers. Because what the Heavenly Patrol Department controlled primarily belonged to the high-end combat power among cultivators. In the Tianyuan world, where one person could form an army and one could destroy a country, high-end combat power was the truly decisive force. No matter how numerous the lower-level cultivators were, they were nothing more than cannon fodder in front of true powerhouses. The Heavenly Patrol Department had 4 branches, and White Tiger Hall was one of them. How did such a strong figure from the Heavenly Patrol Department become a prisoner? The intersection between both parties shouldn't be much. Qin Yushang didn't speak, for as Su Jie said, her current identity was indeed a prisoner. "Are you going to auction?" Taoist Chiu hesitated a bit, recalling Su Jie's past operations. He felt that this White Tiger Hall master in front of him might not be someone that could be handled easily, potentially provoking endless feuds with the Heavenly Patrol Department. Qin Yushang instinctively glanced at Su Jie. She still didn't understand Su Jie's purpose for capturing her. No, this time it's not an auction. I want to use it to exchange for an item." Su Jie waved his hand with a smile, continued under the curious and probing gazes of several people. The founding emperor of the Daili dynasty, Emperor Tianwu Weiyu, is known by the world as a void realm powerhouse. Although I did not live in the same era as this great emperor, I find him enough to be regarded as a kindred spirit. Observing the life of Emperor Tianwu, he pacified the chaotic world, stabilized the divine eagle in the north, subdued the demon cave in the south, stationed by the East Sea, and as for the west, once the 36 countries of the western regions all revered the Daili dynasty as their suzerain state, paying tribute every year without ceasing, making him a ruler of unparalleled greatness. Though I am of the demon path, I have always admired heroes. Su Jie took a sip of tea and turned the topic to history. As Su Jie said, the Emperor Tianwu Weiyu who once founded the Daili dynasty was definitely a prime example of immense talent. Emperor Tianwu originated from an ordinary cultivation family. At that time, The land of the Delhi dynasty was divided into 3 countries, constantly warring against each other. It was Emperor Tianwu Wei-yu who rose from obscurity, relying on outstanding talent and perseverance, step by step established the Delhi dynasty, becoming a void realm emperor. During his lifetime, Emperor Tianwu Wei-yu once led 100,000 military soldiers to pacify all directions. The Heavenly Patrol Department had no less than 5 Purple Mansion realm strongmen then, plus Wei-yu as the Void Emperor. They dominated the Delhi dynasty and its surrounding countries. At that time, the countries of the western regions had to travel thousands of miles to pay tribute each year. The Divine Eagle Empire, needless to say, was even compelled to abandon the lush grasslands, rushing to the icy Arctic to live a primitive lifestyle. During the reign of Emperor Tianwu Wei-yu, neither the righteous nor the demon sects of the Delhi dynasty dared to make any disturbances. At that time, whether it was a righteous sect or a demon sect, all had to pay taxes to the Delhi dynasty using spirit stones or various spiritual materials. The consequence for not paying taxes was being besieged by military soldiers, with the Heavenly Patrol Department collecting the taxes by force. Those who resisted would have their sects eradicated. But now, with the fall of Emperor Tianwu, very few sects are willing to pay this tax, and even if they do, they merely maintain appearances, only paying a small portion. For example, Ghost Ridge Palace has never paid that stuff. The Western region's countries are now controlled by the newly rising esoteric Buddhism, and the Divine Eagle Empire is also encroaching southward. These are a series of reactions caused by the decline of the Delhi dynasty. Essentially, it's still due to a lack of top powerhouses. If there was a void realm powerhouse overseeing, how would the Divine Eagle Empire dare to raid? They wouldn't even have time to hide. You have a good eye, but if you seek to become a confidant of the Emperor Tianwu, if he were alive and saw a devil like you causing chaos, I think he'd likely first dispatch troops to eliminate the Ghost Ridge Palace. Seeing Su Jie talk about Emperor Tianwu Wei-yu, Qin Yushang's face also revealed a few traces of pride and yearning. In terms of cultivation, the Void Realm Emperor Tianwu is the ultimate goal for all cultivators to strive towards. In terms of achievements, unifying the world and establishing the Delhi dynasty as a grand empire that stood for a millennium is undoubtedly a first-class feat. She grew up in the Heavenly Patrol Department, where learning about history inevitably involves the Tianwu Emperor. Having been deeply influenced by her surroundings, she naturally recognizes her identity within the Tianwu Emperor's Heavenly Patrol Department. Su Jie shook his head and said, "Oh, is that so? I actually think that the Tianwu Emperor and I are of the same kind. During his century-long reign, he oppressed not only the demon path. Countless righteous sects were eradicated during the pacification of the demon cave. Perhaps so, but the dead cannot be brought back to life. If the Tianwu Emperor were alive, he would never have allowed you demonic and righteous paths, including the neighboring countries, to be so arrogant and domineering." Qin Yushang lightly bit her red lips. If not for the Tianwu Emperor's mysterious death, having only ruled for a short century, the decline of the Delhi dynasty wouldn't have happened. It might have even annexed the surrounding countries and unified the entire continent. It's known that Purple Mansion cultivators who refine the Yang God can easily live over 1,000 years, not to mention the Void Realm powerhouses. The mysterious death of the Tianwu Emperor, who was then at his peak and unmatched, became an unresolved mystery. Only the royal family might know something, but they were all deeply apprehensive. Therefore, the Delhi dynasty needs a strong man, a force powerful enough to suppress everything. Only then can the empire, surrounded by external threats, have a chance at stability. Su Jie smiled and pointed at Qin Yushang. "I've heard that the Tianwu Emperor left behind a legacy, with many insights from his lifetime pointing directly to the grand path of the Void Realm, guarded by the Delhi royal family, the Wei family. I wonder if you, being meticulously raised as a heavenly beauty by the Heavenly Patrol Department, could exchange for some of that legacy. So that's what you're after. Give up? It's impossible." Hearing Su Jie, Qin Yushang finally understood his scheme of trying to use her to obtain information on the Void Realm's heritage. A Taoist platform realm genius with considerable hope of advancing to the Purple Mansion realm, exchanging for some insignificant information. After all, the Delhi royal family can't cultivate the Void Realm now. Those documents are just collecting dust. Better to put them to use by securing a future Purple Mansion powerhouse. I am important to the Heavenly Patrol Department, but not that significant to the Delhi royal family. Ultimately, as long as I don't become a Purple Mansion, I remain merely a seventh realm strong one of the Taoist platform. The legacy and insights left by the Tianwu Emperor are the foundation of the royal family. Even if I were a Purple Mansion, they wouldn't exchange them. They fear losing me, a genius, less than they fear you rising. Once you become a hollow, who in this world could stop you? By then, wouldn't the Delhi royal family have to yield their empire and lands? Qin Yushang spoke straightforwardly, acknowledging Su Jie's terrifying talent. Based on documents collected by the Heavenly Patrol Department, Su Jie, though only in his early 30s, had already achieved the rank of a Purple Mansion cultivator. Generally, for an immortal seed cherished by a sect, reaching the Taoist platform realm at this age is already remarkable. The Purple Mansion is something beyond aspiration. Yet Su Jie is such an anomaly. And if this inherently talented Su Jie were to be granted the legacy and insights from the void realm of the Tianwu Emperor, and indeed refined into a hollow, he would definitely be the first to turn around and wipe out the Delhi royal family, usurping them. You make some sense, but without trying, how can you know if it works? Maybe the Delhi royal family values you, and either way, I'm at no loss. Su Jie laughed heartily, disregarding Qin Yushang's warnings. Qin Yushang was merely an idle piece in his game. Success was favorable, but her failure did not cost Su Jie anything. Wait, are you trying to use me as bait to sow discord between the Heavenly Patrol Department and the Delhi royal family? Suddenly, Qin Yushang was struck by a thought, recalling Su Jie's prior suggestion of clearing out traitors from the Heavenly Patrol Department, revealing Su Jie's deeper malicious intent. Oh, you actually figured that out. Quite clever, aren't you? Su Jie looked at Qin Yushang with some surprise. Over the past few days, through intentional and unintentional probing and information from the Desire Sect, he had already grasped Qin Yushang's background. Currently known as the strongest person in the Delhi dynasty, the director of the Heavenly Patrol Department, Zhang Qingcong, was Qin Yushang's master, and she was a peerless talent of this generation in the Heavenly Patrol Department, cultivated with great effort. If the relationship between the Heavenly Patrol Department and the Delhi royal family could be soured, both of which are currently Su Jie's enemies, the Heavenly Patrol Department is the most concentrated pool of high-end combat strength of Delhi dynasty, with the director being a seasoned Purple Mansion, likely possessing late-stage cultivation of the Purple Mansion. While the Delhi royal family has declined, they likely still hold some cards, possibly left by the Tianwu Emperor Wei Yu. The combined strength of both is that of a camel leaner than a horse. If they part ways, Su Jie would face significantly less pressure in pursuing his ambitions. Obviously, Su Jie's confidence to attempt this lies in the Heavenly Patrol Department's current difficulty to spare attention, as Su Jie is not overly fearful of them. With the Blood Sea devouring Sky Demon skill in hand, if he can't win, he can still escape. Time is forever on Su Jie's side. You really are a devil. Qin Yushang gritted her teeth, deeply worried about Su Jie's sinister intentions. She understood her master's disposition very well and was equally concerned about any inappropriate intentions that the Delhi royal family might develop. Su Jie cupped his hands and said with a wide smile, "Thank you for the compliment. So let's wait for good news." Su Jie did not stay long in Chongzhou. After confirming that the Chongzhou demon practitioners were behaving, he proceeded with his next step, which was to target the Fire Cloud Palace. Originally, Su Jie intended to act against the Fire Cloud Palace, but a group of Western region monks in Chongzhou diverted his attention. Now that the matter in Chongzhou was settled, Su Jie naturally had the energy to continue targeting the Fire Cloud Palace. On this day, a large number of righteous sects from Qingzhou and the Chongzhou demon sect received a summons from the Ghost Ridge Palace. By the mandate of heaven, due to the unrighteousness in Qing province, the righteous forces led by Fire Cloud Palace have extorted and harmed the creatures both inside and out, causing devastation across the world. This is an unpardonable crime, and with the Ghost Ridge Palace carrying the justice of the world, we seek to punish by divine decree. With banners unfurled, Chongzhou has already submitted in fear, leaving only the Fire Cloud Palace barely surviving. Today, leading a mighty army of 100,000 and 1,000 generals, we will hunt in Qing province. If the Fire Cloud Palace does not surrender, it will be struck by these myriad troops. In consideration of cultivation, I hope the Fire Cloud Palace will act wisely to avoid disaster. This bold declaration of war was written by the Ghost Ridge Palace and quickly spread throughout the world. The major righteous sects in Qingzhou responded to the call. After years of integration and transformation, they had already become a form of the Ghost Ridge Palace. One righteous sect after another sent disciples and elders to gather at the Firefly Sea, where the Ghost Ridge Palace was located. The demon path in Chongzhou, having just experienced Su Jie's suppression, was in its most fearful state. Faced with the Ghost Ridge Palace's recruitment, they hurried to send disciples and elders to join, fearing that they would fall behind and be used by Su Jie as an example. In a short time, there were thousands of banners over the Firefly Sea, with the numbers of cultivators from both the righteous and demon sides reaching up to 150,000, clearly divided into left and right, glaring at each other, yet having to cooperate under the constraints of the Ghost Ridge Palace to partake in this war. The Ghost Ridge Palace also dispatched more than 20,000 elite disciples, aboard 5 flying magical boats and other puppets like the Spider main battle mecha, forming a massive army of cultivators, arriving at the border between Qingzhou and Qing province. The clouds of war loomed over the territory of Qing province and the Fire Cloud Palace. The leading righteous force in Qing province began to panic, urgently contacting the major righteous sects in Qing province. Where have the Ghost Ridge Palace troops reached? At the mountain gate of the Fire Cloud Palace, sitting atop the red shining immortal palace in a volcanic crater, Fire Cloud Palace sect master Chu Yengang asked beside him the Supreme Elder Wang Chuan, with a cultivation level at the 3rd level of the Taoist platform realm, with a serious expression. Sect Master, the current forces of the Ghost Ridge Palace are still gathered at the border, but they have already dispatched 2 flying magical boats into the territory of Qing province, carrying a batch of elite disciples to conduct preliminary reconnaissance. Wang Chuan spoke, his brow tightly furrowed, appearing deeply concerned. Currently, Fire Cloud Palace's Taoist platform realm experts were reduced to just him and Chu Yengang. In the past, during the attack on the 10,000 Sword Alliance, they were ambushed by Su Jie, leading to heavy losses for the Fire Cloud Palace with 4 Taoist platform realm elders falling, significantly damaging the palace's vitality. If it weren't for Chu Yengang, an absolute powerhouse at the 7th level of the Taoist platform realm, along with the existence of the red shining immortal palace, the Fire Cloud Palace would have long lost its standing as the leading righteous force in Qing province. Now, Su Jie was coming on strong, having rallied the combined forces of Qingzhou and Chongzhou's righteous and demon sects, possessing nearly 20 Taoist platform realm experts, not to mention Su Jie himself, a great power in the Purple Mansion realm. In contrast, the greatest reliance for the Fire Cloud Palace was the red shining immortal palace, this super war bastion. Su Jie, that villain is too ambitious. Chu Yongang's fiery red beard trembled, his entire being resembling a volcano on the verge of eruption. Ever since Su Jie destroyed the Guanchao Pavilion and took over Qingzhou, Chu Yengang had a premonition that Su Jie might act against the Fire Cloud Palace. After all, at that point, the Fire Cloud Palace had lost several Taoist platform realm experts. In terms of high-level strength, they were no match for the Ghost Ridge Palace. But during these years, as Chu Yengang actively prepared for war, he heard again of Su Jie, only to find out that he had advanced to the Purple Mansion realm, occupied Chongzhou, and subdued the demons of Chongzhou. This brought shock to the Fire Cloud Palace. Being in the Purple Mansion realm at just past 30 could no longer simply be described as prodigious talent but rather as an unparalleled monster. Chu Yengang had crossed paths with Su Jie. Back then, even while in the Taoist platform realm, Su Jie had mastered the Dharma form, a skill typical for the Purple Mansion realm, possessing formidable combat power. Even Chu found it difficult to defeat him. Now that the opponent had ascended to the Purple Mansion realm, with drastically increased combat power, Chu Yengang couldn't fathom the extent of Su Jie's strength, knowing that even with the red shining immortal palace, he was likely unable to counter it. How about the contact with the righteous sects in Qing province? Where are their reinforcements? Chu Yengang continued to ask, as relying on the strength of the Fire Cloud Palace alone, they could not withstand the blade of the Ghost Ridge Palace. They must consolidate the strength of all sects in Qing Province, especially capitalizing on the Taoist platform realm experts from the righteous sects there to barely contend with the Ghost Ridge Palace. Even though they still lag in numbers, it was better than relying solely on the 2 Taoist platform realm experts from the Fire Cloud Palace facing nearly 20 Taoist platform realm experts from the Ghost Ridge Palace, with a 1 against 10 disadvantage being unfavorable. Those sects are all cowardly. They all refuse to send troops. I've heard that some righteous sects have already secretly contacted the Ghost Ridge Palace. I'm afraid once the Ghost Ridge Palace officially invades Qing Province, these righteous sects will surrender at the mere news and defect to the Ghost Ridge Palace, those devils. Wang Chuan's face turned even uglier as he spoke of the current situation with the Qing Province righteous sects. These righteous sects were even more fickle than imagined. In times of danger, instead of uniting and rallying around Fire Cloud Palace to resist external enemies, each of them leaned towards the group of demon cultivators from Ghost Ridge Palace. Not only did they refuse to mobilize troops, but they also seemed eager to enlist voluntarily. Chu Yangang's expression became indescribably silent. He could more or less guess the thoughts of those Qing Province righteous sects. In recent years, with Qingzhou and Qing Province being adjacent, the reformation of the righteous sects by Ghost Ridge Palace after dominating Qingzhou had also spread to the neighboring Qing Province. They didn't exterminate the Qingzhou righteous sects entirely. Although the Qingzhou righteous sects had to deliver various spiritual materials to the Ghost Ridge Palace each year, cooperating with and adhering to the various regulations established by Ghost Ridge Palace, their freedom was greatly restricted. However, generally speaking, the sect's heritage and autonomy were still preserved. Moreover, when it came to cultivation convenience for disciples, through mobile phones, various puppets, and the open policies of Ghost Ridge Palace, the disciples' resources and cultivation speed had greatly improved. The presence of Ghost Ridge Palace was extremely beneficial to the lower-level cultivators. Now, faced with the aggressive force of Ghost Ridge Palace, with the Purple Mansion Realm's Demon Path champion Su Jie leading the charge, these Qing Province righteous sects were severely lacking the will to resist. The worst possible outcome was to accept the rule and policies of Ghost Ridge Palace, just like the Qingzhou righteous sections. There was really no point in fighting to the death, especially when they couldn't win. They saw very little hope of victory. Many shuddered at the mention of Su Jie, the Purple Mansion Realm, let alone face him in confrontation. If Fire Cloud Palace had a Purple Mansion Realm in residence, the Qing Province righteous sects might have the courage. But just relying on a lone red shining immortal palace, everyone really lacked confidence. If they picked the wrong side, they would probably face annihilation, so the choices of these Qing Province righteous sects, Chu Yengang could guess somewhat. What about the Heavenly Patrol Department? Have they dispatched any Purple Mansion Realm strongmen? Chu Yengang took a deep breath and questioned his other plan, which was to seek assistance from the Heavenly Patrol Department. When Ghost Ridge Palace launched a tactical move, Chu Yengang immediately requested help from the Heavenly Patrol Department. This was where Chu Yangang's biggest confidence lay. He gambled that the Heavenly Patrol Department wouldn't stand by and watch Ghost Ridge Palace annex Fire Cloud Palace and seize the land of Qing Province. Currently, Ghost Ridge Palace had already occupied Qingzhou and Chongzhou. If they were to seize Qing Province next, most of the southern essence of the Dali dynasty would fall into the hands of Su Jie, the Purple Mansion Great Demon. As for Jingzhou, it had too small a population and land area. The largest state in the south was Qingzhou and Qing Province. One is a major grain-producing state, known since ancient times as Qingzhou Fed. The world is enough. One is rich in water transportation, with a strong commercial atmosphere, merchants everywhere, abundant financial resources, occupying 7 overflow buckets of the world's commerce, leaving 3 for the rest of the world. It was precisely because of its rich resources and abundance that Guanchao Pavilion and Fire Cloud Palace could sustain a Purple Mansion Realm strongman. As long as Su Jie captured Qing Province, grasping the granary in one hand and the money bag in the other, it would be like adding wings to a tiger. With Su Jie's ambition, it's hard to imagine what he might do next. Undoubtedly, this would greatly shake the imperial authority. Sect Master, The Heavenly Patrol Department has not responded at all. Our letters have sunk into the sea without a trace. Wang Chuan smiled wryly, knowing what this news meant. What? How is that possible? Chu Yongang's eyes widened, grabbing Wang Chuan's collar with a ferocious expression. Say that again. The Heavenly Patrol Department hasn't dispatched a strongman? I don't expect Director Zhang Qingsong, as he must hold down the capital Dali City, but Deputy Director He Weifeng, he is also a Purple Mansion strongman, he should at least come. The Heavenly Patrol Department is the largest high-end cultivator agency of the Delhi dynasty. As long as the Delhi royal family doesn't want the Ghost Ridge Palace's power to swell beyond control, providing Su Jie, the Purple Mansion Great Demon, with more supply resources, they won't sit idly by. They would certainly have the Heavenly Patrol Department intervene to stop them. But what exactly went wrong? That at this time, the Heavenly Patrol Department still hasn't moved to help. Do they really not have any Purple Mansion realm strongman to deploy? Or are they simply unwilling to act, preferring to watch Fire Cloud Palace be annihilated? Sect Master, if my words are false, I am willing to be struck by lightning. At the critical moment of the sect's life and death, dare I speak lightly of such things? Wang Chuan looked at Chu Yongang's devouring gaze, his heart filled with bitterness. He didn't believe the answer either. He personally sent a direct disciple to Dali City to verify, but they hadn't even met a big figure from the Heavenly Patrol Department. They were sent back from the headquarters tower. The Heavenly Patrol Department had no intention of offering assistance. It's over. Chu Yengang listlessly released his grip, his eyes cast in despair. He knew what this meant. If the Heavenly Patrol Department didn't come to their aid, it meant Fire Cloud Palace was left to fend for itself against the Purple Mansion Great Demon Su Jie. Over 10 Taoist platform realm experts, hundreds of secret realm elders, and tens of thousands of Yunling realm disciples. They might even have to face more than a dozen Qing province sects defecting to the Ghost Ridge Palace. Under such circumstances, how could Fire Cloud Palace even fight? Just relying on himself and Wang Chuan, 2 Taoist platform realm cultivators, and a lone red shining immortal palace, he saw no chance of victory at all. It might be that, on the first encounter, they would be utterly defeated. A week flew by. After a brief rest, the Ghost Ridge Palace officially broke through the border, entering the territories of Qing Province, leading a massive army of hundreds of thousands of cultivators, with 5 flying celestial ships at the forefront, advancing rapidly towards the Fire Cloud Hall's mountain gate. Along the way, they naturally passed through some territories of the righteous sects of Qing Province. But these righteous sects often humbly sent letters of surrender even before the Ghost Ridge Palace's army approached, expressing their welcome for Ghost Ridge Palace to take over Qing Province, choosing a path of submission. You can't blame these righteous sects in Qing Province for their change of allegiance. The disparity in strength was too great. Just Su Jie alone was enough to quash any thought of resistance. Apart from submission, resistance meant a dead end, and relocating meant abandoning one's land and resources, gambling on an uncertain future. When submission allowed them to preserve their sect's legacy, almost no sect would take the harder path. Therefore, these righteous sects put aside their shame and chose to submit to the demon sect Ghost Ridge Palace, just as their friends in Qingzhou did, succumbing to the military prowess of Ghost Ridge Palace, or rather Su Jie's Purple Mansion strength. Without wasting any time along the way, the Ghost Ridge Palace's army swiftly reached the Fire Cloud Hall's mountain gate. In the team, compared to the righteous cultivators' fairy-like presence, with various golden magical treasures and spiritual beasts everywhere, the appearance of the Ghost Ridge Palace-led demon cultivators was much more terrifying. Black clouds, like ink, blanketed the sky, sweeping toward the Fire Cloud Hall's mountain gate. That was a black insect cloud composed of billions of human-faced moths. Below, besides the Ghost Ridge Palace disciples, demon cultivators from Chongzhou carried an oppressive aura. Demon cultivators from the White Bone Tower held corpse oil lamps, lighting a ghastly green demon fire, illuminating a group of demon disciples with crimson eyes, who stood excitedly at the front, eager to begin a massacre and a plunder. Demon cultivator powerhouses from the Lying Demon Bone rode a human bone jade chariot, with iron chains hanging from it shackling a fierce beast. The beast had a human face, a snake's body, ox-like hooves, and made cries like a baby's wail. With each roar, the swords of the nearby righteous disciples hummed, and some evil suppression talismans self-ignited, automatically protecting their masters under the influence of demonic energy. There were also fierce ghosts mingling within the demon cultivator ranks, disciples from the Heavenly Soul sect, bringing twisted sick ghosts, hanging ghosts with hair touching the ground, and impregnable golden armor copper corpses, walking with gusts of chilly wind, causing the righteous disciples nearby to avoid them. At the Fire Cloud Hall's mountain gate, the Ready Fire Cloud Palace disciples swallowed nervously, looking at the army of cultivators stretching to the horizon, as fear began spreading among the crowd. In stark contrast, the righteous and demonic cultivators on the Ghost Ridge Palace side looked at the Fire Cloud Hall's formation and secretly clicked their tongues. At the forefront, a giant peak stood towering, its summit sharply defined, enveloped in mists. From the mountain's belly, the scorching and surging earth flame fire occasionally emitted heat, spewing towering fire pillars. On top of the giant peak mountain was the landmark building of the entire Qing province, the Scarlet Radiance Immortal Palace suspended in the sky. Constructed with various rare materials, it floated thousands of meters high, shimmering under the sun, magnificent and imposing. The sight of this super war fortress instinctively made many Ghost Ridge Palace disciples gulp and lift their hearts. The Scarlet Radiance Immortal Palace may be hard to precisely strike high-flying Taoist platform realm strongmen, but when it came to slaughtering low-level cultivators, whether Secret Realm Elders or Yunling Realm cultivators, it served as a deadly clearing weapon. A round of large-scale attack formations could cause countless casualties. Both sides feared their opponent, but the Ghost Ridge Palace held confidence because they had Purple Mansion strongmen, enough to determine the victory. Everyone believed the final victor would be them. They only needed to figure out how to survive the fierce battle until victory. No matter when I see it, this Scarlet Radiance Immortal Palace always leaves me profoundly shaken with an unending sense of awe. Su Jie stood with hands clasped behind his back, atop the head of the thousand-hand centipede. Sizzle, sizzle. The thousand-hand centipede made a couple of sounds in response, indicating that it might not be able to chew up this big fella. Rumble. At this moment, the Scarlet Radiance Immortal Palace suspended above the giant peak mountain erupted with thousands of brilliant rays. The phoenix statues positioned at the four corners unfolded, and the central Great Sun Cloud Palace saw a golden, lifelike three-legged golden crow soaring into the sky, like a high-hanging sun, with boundless spiritual power surging like an ocean, dyeing the heavens and earth in a red-gold hue. The next moment, the entire massive Scarlet Radiance Immortal Palace began to move slowly, like a flying mountain. Form the formation. In the Ghost Ridge Palace's camp, as they watched the mobilizing war fortress, many cultivators instinctively retreated. After all, cultivators are not an army, and especially those demon cultivators who were recently incorporated. Their once fervent and bloodthirsty gazes cleared up upon seeing the moving and flying Scarlet Radiance Immortal Palace. Xiao Qian. Su Jie patted the thousand-hand centipede beneath him, signaling it was time for him to act. The thousand-hand centipede roared, carrying Su Jie to the forefront of the army formation. Although the thousand-hand centipede was already quite massive, compared to the Scarlet Radiance Immortal Palace, it seemed rather insignificant. But the morale of the Ghost Ridge Palace camp began to rise immediately because their invincible sect master Su stood atop the thousand-hand centipede. 5 elements demon-suppressing handprint. Su Jie hovered in the air and struck down with a palm. A giant hand of spinning 5-colored spiritual energy descended, covering the Red Radiance Immortal Palace. Bam! A tremendous sound shook the area for 100 li, emanating from within the Red Radiance Immortal Palace, where multiple 3-legged golden crows flapped their wings, raising a flame barrier that enveloped the entire palace, blocking Su Jie's 5 elements demon-suppressing handprint. With the power of Su Jie's Purple Mansion Realm handprint, it only made the Red Radiance Immortal Palace tremble a few times. The Red Radiance Immortal Palace, constructed by Fire Cloud Palace over 700 years, causing them to bankrupt multiple times, was extremely formidable in both defense and attack, only lacking agility. Against a true master, it was somewhat insufficient, yet it was almost perfect. This thing, it will take quite some time to break through its defenses. Su Jie muttered to himself, feeling the tenacity of the Red Radiance Immortal Palace. Even though he was in the Purple Mansion realm, he could only gradually wear it down to break it completely. Fortunately, Su Jie had time. Having such a thought, Su Jie aligned his right hand fingers like a sword and slashed across his brow. Dharma form chaos. The Tao River was pierced through. Su Jie's Yang God left his body, ready to mix with the Tao aura, transforming into the chaos Dharma form. Sect Master Su, please hold your hand for now. But just as Su Jie prepared to act, a man voluntarily flew out from the Red Radiance Immortal Palace. It was seen that the man was tall and sturdy, with arms strong enough to race a horse, bald-headed, and possessed a flaming red beard, the color so pure it seemed like a burning flame, giving an intense sense of oppression. Just standing there was like a live volcano about to erupt, containing terrifying fire attribute spiritual power within. His cultivation of the seventh realm of Taoist platform was undoubtedly shown. It was the Fire Cloud Hall Sect Master Chu Yengang. Ah, it's Sect Master Chu, long time no see. Su Jie paused his movements with his left hand when he saw who it was, looking towards Chu Yengang. Sect Master Su, our Fire Cloud Hall has no intention of waging war with Ghost Ridge Palace. For this battle, our Fire Cloud Hall is willing to surrender. Chu Yengang lowered his head and spoke such words. For a moment, the whole venue was shaken. Whether from the Ghost Ridge Palace's side or Fire Cloud Palace's side, everyone was astounded by this sudden change. Fire Cloud Palace, the strongest sect in Qingzhou, the leader of the righteous, directly surrendered? Oh, surrendering, hoping it's not a temporary compromise planning for future rebellion. Su Jie squinted slightly, speaking with meaning. How dare I deceive Sect Master Su? I represent all the disciples of Fire Cloud Hall, numbering 34,000, willing to serve Ghost Ridge Palace eternally, at Sect Master Su's service. Chu Yangang's mouth twisted bitterly, knowing that once this battle began, Fire Cloud Hall would become history. Even possessing the Red Radiance Immortal Palace, such a grand structure, faced with the Purple Mansion realm, hitting Purple Mansion realm strongmen was far too difficult, only to be gradually worn down and consumed by them, eventually broken through. By then, even if they could kill some cultivators in the Ghost Ridge Palace camp, it would be to no avail. Fire Cloud Hall would be destined to follow in the footsteps of Guanchao Pavilion, sacrificed under the Great Tide. Therefore, when the reinforcements from the Heavenly Patrol Department were delayed, Chu Yengang decided to submit to Ghost Ridge Palace. Losing face is preferable to losing lives. To sacrifice the lives of over 30,000 sect members is much more worthwhile. Sect Master Su, to express sincerity, I will offer our Fire Cloud Hall's sect treasure, this Red Radiance Immortal Palace, as a gift to Sect Master Su for use as a flying palace, conquering the world. Chu Yengang gritted his teeth, his eyes full of reluctance and conflict, but ultimately took out a small three-legged golden crow statue, respectfully handing it to Su Jie. Giving the Red Radiance Immortal Palace to Su Jie, this sect treasure that was built over 700 years, causing bankruptcies 8 times, offering it to Su Jie was a decision Chu Yengang made after much tossing and turning. Only in doing so would Su Jie spare Fire Cloud Hall. Su Jie took this small three-legged golden crow statue. It was the core control array I possession of Red Radiance Immortal Palace. Possessing it allowed direct control of the Red Radiant Palace. Felt it? Su Jie's smile widened. He patted Chu Yangang's shoulder and laughed heartily. Haha, Sect Master Chu. What are you talking about? Fire Cloud Hall and my Ghost Ridge Palace have always been like brothers. No need to be so distant. Today, I declare that our two families will be allies from now on. No more gaps. You and I are as one family. My Ghost Ridge Palace, being the elder brother, will assist Fire Cloud Hall, help you develop and flourish, and create more splendor. Chu Yengang accompanied a smile. Regardless of how his heart bled with pain, he still said on the face, Sect Master Su's words are indeed true. In this way, from now on everything at Fire Cloud Hall relies on Sect Master Su for guidance and support. Our Fire Cloud Hall is deeply grateful. Below, the Ghost Ridge Palace camp and Fire Cloud Hall camp all looked dumbfounded. The situation changed too quickly. Originally thought a fight to the death was to occur, but then Fire Cloud Hall surrendered so glamorously? As Chu Yengang took the initiative to kneel and bow, symbolizing Fire Cloud Hall's surrender, the impending battle between the two sides quickly dissipated. Though some were uncomfortable with surrendering to the demon path, most people at Fire Cloud Hall felt relieved. If even ants cling to life, how could these cultivators, armed with powers and lifespans beyond ordinary people, want to waste their lives in a doomed war? Thus, there were almost no objections within Fire Cloud Hall to surrendering to Ghost Ridge Palace. For those who did want to object, it was futile. Several stubborn disciples who stood up to voice their opposition were swiftly executed by other elders of Fire Cloud Hall to avoid jeopardizing the crucial act of surrender. Su Jie wasn't concerned with the internal purge at Fire Cloud Hall. He led a group of people, guided by Chu Yengang, leisurely into the Scarlet Radiance Celestial Palace. Upon entering the Scarlet Radiance Celestial Palace, Su Jie was fine, having been here before. But Zhang Junwei, Tang Peiqing, Taoist Qiu, Lu Yingying, Qin Yushang, and others who accompanied Su Jie were left speechless by the scene inside the Scarlet Radiance Celestial Palace. Is this the Scarlet Radiance Celestial Palace? The well-informed Qin Yushang set foot on the ground paved with star Qiu jade, looked up, and was greeted by a splendid and vibrant view. Golden light in 1,000 directions, auspicious aura in hundreds of forms, glazed roofs, and exquisite decor made of jade. Palatial buildings formed an intricately interwoven maze, dragon scale-adorned pillars exuding vigorous spiritual energy, like breathing true dragons, with three-legged golden crow statues winding around the building tops, their fiery feathers and flame patterns dazzling the eye. So extravagant! Qin Yushang couldn't help but exclaim, her words carrying a hint of envy. Growing up in the Heavenly Patrol Department, even its headquarters weren't this lavish. The opulence of Scarlet Radiance Celestial Palace was unrivaled, possibly costing billions of spirit stones to construct. Even if the Heavenly Patrol Department had the money, it wouldn't build something like Scarlet Radiance Celestial Palace. It would focus on nurturing talent instead. As a huge, comfortable, and cultivation-enhancing fortress during wartime, Scarlet Radiance Celestial Palace is the ultimate dream of many cultivators. In comparison, flying magical boats, riding spiritual beasts, sword control flight, driving chariots are nothing. This is the prowess of a sect with 1,000-year heritage, Su Jie said with a smile, turning back to enter the Great Sun Cloud Palace. In the center were placed a treasure chair made of dragon flame sun iron, with a star will pearl inlaid at the top. Su Jie rightfully sat down on it and placed the small three-legged golden crow statue into a groove beside the armrest. Instantly, Su Jie felt a synchrony between his mind and Scarlet Radiance Celestial Palace, allowing him to control every mechanism and formation within it. With a thought, a three-legged golden crow with a wingspan of 100 feet emerged above the Scarlet Radiance Celestial Palace. With its mouth open, thousands of top-grade spirit stones stored within the palace were consumed in an instant. In the next moment, a blazing red light illuminated the sky, with flames evaporating the air as it plummeted straight to the distant earth. Rumble! A deafening explosion shook the air, and on the distant horizon, a hemispherical crimson dome laid overturned between heaven and earth. The intense heat and impact, akin to a hydrogen bomb explosion, created a magma lake over 1,000 meters in diameter on the earth, melting even the ground, and a Taoist platform realm expert struck by this would barely survive. Exhilarating! Su Jie laughed heartily, joy evident in his eyes. Sect Master's divine might. Zhang Junwei and others witnessed all this and knelt on one knee, congratulating in unison. Arise! Su Jie waved his hand, looking thoughtfully at Chu Yengang. Sect Master Chu, I guess the reason you surrendered so decisively is that you sought help from the Heavenly Patrol Department to no avail, which was the wise decision. Upon hearing the words, Heavenly Patrol Department, Qin Yushang immediately perked up. Sect Master Su, our Fire Cloud Hall sincerely surrenders, with no ulterior motives. Chu Yengang was startled, fearing Su Jie would renege and first get rid of them. Don't worry, I'm just asking. I want to know the stance of the Heavenly Patrol Department. Su Jie tapped the armrest, indicating that Chu Yengang needn't overthink it. A seventh realm of Taoist platform expert like him, Su Jie didn't need any pretext to kill. Chu Yengang carefully observed Su Jie's expression. Seeing no falsehood, he felt a sense of relief and hurriedly replied, "Yes, we sought aid from the Heavenly Patrol Department, but until today, we've received no response." Fire Cloud Hall, facing Ghost Ridge Palace without any chance of victory, naturally sought help from the Heavenly Patrol Department, betting that the Delhi royal family wouldn't want to see Ghost Ridge Palace expand excessively and would send Purple Mansion realm experts to assist. But unfortunately, they guessed wrong. "Oh, interesting." Su Jie chuckled lightly, turning his gaze to Qin Yushang. "It seems the Heavenly Patrol Department values you, perhaps worried about risking your safety by sending help. It seems I've won this round." Qin Yushang bit her thin lips, recalling the letter Su Jie sent to Delhi City not long ago, intentionally sowing discord between the Heavenly Patrol Department and the Delhi dynasty, and now it seemed he succeeded? Thinking of this left Qin Yushang feeling frustrated, uncertain what she did to deserve ending up in Su Jie's hands. A conflict far away seemed to have influenced the struggle between the Heavenly Patrol Department and the Delhi royal family inside Delhi City. Don't get too smug. As long as the Heavenly Patrol Department intervenes, they definitely won't ignore you. Qin Yushang glared fiercely at Su Jie, not fully believing her own words. Because she knew the current state of the Heavenly Patrol Department, the Delhi dynasty was like a leaking ship everywhere, requiring the Heavenly Patrol Department to plug the leaks. Compared to the Northern Divine Eagle Empire, as long as Su Jie didn't directly attack the headquarters of the Heavenly Patrol Department, most of their efforts would still be focused on the Divine Eagle Empire. When I attacked the Qing province, the Heavenly Patrol Department didn't intervene. When I attacked Chongzhou, they didn't intervene. And now, as I'm attacking Qing province's Heavenly Patrol Department, they still haven't intervened. This definitely won't ignore that you speak of. When exactly will the Heavenly Patrol Department act? Su Jie laughed heartily, asking with amusement. Listening to Su Jie's arrogant laugh, Qin Yushang was at a loss for words. Sect Master Su's demonic power is unparalleled. I believe the Heavenly Patrol Department fears Sect Master Su, hence why they dare not send reinforcements. Chu Yengang complimented with a smile, which angered Qin Yushang. Nonsense! How could the Heavenly Patrol Department fear a demon cultivator? Qin Yushang turned her head to look at Chu Yengang, who wore a sycophantic expression. Despite being a brawny man, he shamelessly flattered, unworthy of being a leader in the righteous sects of Qing province. Who are you? Sect Master Su is a Purple Mansion true demon, while there are only 2 Purple Mansion cultivators in the Heavenly Patrol Department. Isn't it natural for them to be afraid? Chu Yengang was left bewildered by the scoldings, restrained by Qin Yushang being brought in by Su Jie, unclear of her identity, and unable to retort. Heavenly Patrol Department, White Tiger Hall Master, Qin Yushang. Qin Yushang announced herself, and Su Jie wasn't going to conceal it for her. What, the White Tiger Hall Master? Upon hearing Qin Yushang's identity, Chu Yengang was stunned for several seconds, looking at Su Jie, then at Qin Yushang, finally understanding why Qin Yushang was so agitated earlier. Although unclear how Qin Yushang fell into Su Jie's hands, Chu Yengang quickly adjusted his stance, bowing to Qin Yushang, saying, "Since Hall Master Qin is from the Heavenly Patrol Department, I'd like to ask, if they're not fearing Sect Master Su, why haven't they sent a Purple Mansion great power to the southern land?" Chu Yangang's tone carried a hint of resentment as he spoke. It's precisely because there's no Purple Mansion great power from the Heavenly Patrol Department that he had to bow to Su Jie. If they had made a move, he wouldn't be in this predicament. Ultimately, it's the Heavenly Patrol Department's fault. Chu Yengang became more agitated as he spoke, bluntly stating, "I see the Delhi dynasty is in decline, half a foot in the grave. In the future of the Delhi dynasty, only a hero like Sect Master Su could vie for supremacy and establish a new prosperous era." Qin Yushang was infuriated by Chu Yangang's audacity. Su Jie, however, listened with a smiling expression. Chu sect master, you seem honest, but your eloquence is quite something. Su Jie pointed out to Chu Yengang how he hadn't noticed before that Chu Yengang had such eloquent rhetoric, consistently flattering him. This guy is a talent. Sect Master Su. Every word I say comes from the heart. With the Dali dynasty in such decline, the divine Eagle Empire eyeing us externally and internal rot everywhere. You've governed Qing province so well, and at such a young age you've already ascended to the Purple Mansion realm. The so-called immortal seeds are as different from you as fireflies are to the moon. You excel in both strength and governance. Therefore, I say, Sect Master Su absolutely has the potential to seize the golden throne and become the common lord of the world. Chu Yengang knelt on one knee, with his square face and red beard, appearing very sincere. After hearing Chu Yangang's words, Qin Yushang's anger subsided, and she instinctively glanced at Su Jie, with an absurd idea creeping into her mind. It seemed Su Jie really had that potential. Occupying the 3 states, possessing unmatched strength and talent, coupled with Su Jie's governance skills. Despite being of the demon path, his rule in Qing province was more prosperous and stable than the counties of the righteous sects. If the Dali dynasty were to fall in the future, then who would be eligible to vie for supremacy? Su Jie's Ghost Ridge Palace would undoubtedly be one of the formidable forces. No, how could the Dali dynasty fall? Qin Yushang shook her head repeatedly, but the thought lingered in her mind because outside the Delhi royal family, the decline of the Delhi dynasty, resembling the waning years of an era, was already an established fact in the eyes of the world. Only some people were reluctant to admit it. Nothing is impossible. The throne is taken in turns, and this year it might just be with the Ghost Ridge Palace. Chu Yengang flattered Su Jie, fearing his reckoning of the Fire Cloud Palace, thus sparing no effort to appease Su Jie with endless praise. Seeing Qin Yushang silenced, Su Jie's focus shifted to other matters. Oh, there's still a portion of faith power here. Su Jie muttered to himself, sensing a part of the faith power at the core of the red shining Immortal Palace's formation. These were evidently accumulated by the red shining Immortal Palace in daily times, mostly contributed by the Fire Cloud Palace disciples, and were much purer compared to ordinary people. You don't usually absorb these faith powers from the red shining Immortal Palace? Su Jie asked Chu Yengang below, curious as to why he didn't absorb the faith powers. Reporting to Sect Master Su, we use these faith powers once every 10 years, mostly to nurture young disciples, helping them accelerate the condensing of their primordial spirits. Chu Yengang explained respectfully, noting that compared to the Yinyang Sea suppressing palace Su Jie created on Blue Star, which absorbed faith power by the billions, the faith power the red shining Immortal Palace could gather while in the Fire Cloud Palace was limited. Most of it relied on their disciples, and because this faith power was pure, it was best used to help cultivators who had just ascended to the secret realm complete their primordial spirit. Su Jie nodded and proceeded to absorb all the residual faith power within the red shining Immortal Palace. Countless starlight specks flew towards Su Jie, entering his sea of consciousness. Though this portion of faith power was much less than that of Blue Star, it was exceptionally pure. Su Jie's young god, having consumed a lot of ordinary faith power from Blue Star, found the faith power from the red shining Immortal Palace akin to a hearty banquet compared to plain rice. Though not plentiful, it was incredibly exquisite. As Su Jie's young god continuously absorbed, it underwent a monumental transformation. Bang! An invisible aura erupted from Su Jie's body, causing those around him to drastically change in color, feeling as if they were staring at a divine entity, their blood freezing, leading them to lower their heads involuntarily under the pressure. Long before, assisted by the massive amounts of faith power provided by Blue Star, Su Jie's young god had already condensed very early. Purple Mansion realm is divided into 3 stages. Purple Mansion, Upper Elixir, Yang God. To enter the middle stage Purple Mansion realm, also known as the Upper Elixir realm, Su Jie needed to refine his Upper Elixir. The refining of the Upper Elixir, located an inch and 2 points above the Purple Mansion, reverses the innate qi. By refining the Upper Elixir, the human body can reverse the innate qi. This newfound purity of faith power while not allowing Su Jie to directly refine his upper elixir and reach the middle stage of the Purple Mansion realm, allowed Su Jie to see the path ahead. Reverse the mechanism for life, the transformation of yin and yang. Su Jie whispered to himself, suddenly looking towards his sleeve. The thousand-hand centipede state was being sensed, and the next time it breaks through the top grade 9 refinement goo insect, it might be Su Jie's opportunity to advance to the middle stage of the Purple Mansion realm. Then, with the powerful blood feedback he would receive from the thousand-hand centipede, Su Jie could utilize that robust vital energy to ascend to the Purple Mansion middle stage. In Delhi City, when news from Qing province reached here, it immediately shook the entire city 3 times over. Tell me, how exactly should we deal with Ghost Ridge Palace? I asked you to contribute funds and you failed to understand. Sending troops is met with complaints, and now even Qing province is lost. How am I to account to our ancestors? Within the food hall of the imperial city, Emperor Yongren Wei Chang had a grim expression, heavily striking the arm of the dragon throne, angrily scolding the civil and military officials below him. The civil and military officials were all silent, understanding why Wei Chang was so furious. Qingzhou produces grain, Qing province is rich, Ghost Ridge Palace occupies 2 provinces, and has even united with Chongzhou Demon Path, causing their force to rapidly expand. Along with the presence of the Purple Mansion demon Su Jie, if he so desires, he could occupy Jingzhou at any time. Jingzhou borders Delhi City, so it's no exaggeration to say that by then, Ghost Ridge Palace could directly neighbor Delhi City and the entire court of civil and military officials. Thinking of that scenario, even the civil and military officials felt anxious and restless. Your Majesty, I believe that Ghost Ridge Palace has reached a point where we must eliminate it. Su Qing, the Minister of Ministry of Industry, stepped forward, face sorrowful, saying, had we acted against Ghost Ridge Palace earlier, the situation wouldn't have deteriorated to this point. Now that Qing province is occupied by Ghost Ridge Palace, giving them money and grain, if left unchecked, their force will grow rapidly. Zhou Min from the Ministry of Revenue blew out his beard and glared, swearing, Mr. Su, are you blaming me? Saying to eliminate Ghost Ridge Palace is easy enough, but where will the military funds come from? Where will the soldiers come from? Yu Jifeng, the Minister of War, also stood out, kneeling on the ground in a state of anxiousness. Your Majesty, our Ministry of War is willing to relieve you of your worries, but we are in a tough spot as well. Years of continuous reduction in military funds. The Divine Eagle Empire eyes us covetously from the north, and there are many rebellions internally. Our troops are already stretched thin. The civil and military officials present divided into 2 factions, debating and contesting whether to dispatch troops or not. However, this time, the proposal to dispatch troops to Ghost Ridge Palace gained more support than before. After all, merely imagining being neighboring Su Jie made many civil and military officials inevitably anxious. Your Majesty, Master Zhang from the Heavenly Patrol Department seeks an audience. Suddenly, a servant hurriedly entered food hall to report the situation. The sound of the argument inside the hall diminished significantly, as the civil and military officials instinctively looked outside the hall. There, a man clad in a black embroidered robe entered the hall, his hair slightly graying, yet his face was ageless. Seeing Zhang Qingcong, the civil and military officials were somewhat surprised. Due to its special nature, the Heavenly Patrol Department normally doesn't attend court. Whenever they do, it usually signifies major events. Minister Zhang Qingcong, I request an urgent audience with your Majesty. Zhang Qingcong brushed off his robes, bowing toward Wei Chang on the dragon throne, as a Purple Mansion aura quietly emerged, instantly calming the previously contentious court. Speak your mind, I Ching. Wei Chang performed a courtesy gesture, indicating his respect for Zhang Qingcong as a Purple Mansion great power. 2 matters. Zhang Qingcong first produced an envelope, speaking gravely, This is a letter from Qingzhou, penned by the sect master of Ghost Ridge Palace, Purple Mansion realm demon Su Jie himself. Swish! Countless pairs of eyes fell simultaneously on the envelope in Zhang Qingcong's hand. Due to pursuing esoteric Buddhism, our White Tiger Hall master Qin Yushang ventured alone into Chongzhou, and after confrontations between Buddha and demon, fell into Su Jie's hands. Now Su Jie has written, demanding insights into the royal family's cave Void Realm as a condition for a hostage exchange. While handing over the envelope, Zhang Qingsong concisely explained the contents of the letter. He deliberately held onto the letter for several days, presenting it now that the situation in Qing province was resolved, all for the sake of his beloved disciple. He had studied Su Jie's past actions, aware that if the Heavenly Patrol Department had dispatched reinforcements before Ghost Ridge Palace attacked Qing province, Su Jie might have done something rash. Now that Qing province had fallen to Ghost Ridge Palace, the royal family would likely not force the Heavenly Patrol Department into action, avoiding many troubles. With a somber face, Wei Cheng read the envelope quietly, then decisively responded without much hesitation. Zhang Aiqing, the legacy of Emperor Tianwu does not countenance exchange. Zhang Qingsong seemed to have anticipated this answer, his expression calm as water, replying, I understand and will directly reject Su Jie's demand. Zhang Qingsong nodded sharply, having anticipated this outcome when he chose to come at this timing. Master Zhang, regarding the loss of Qing province, your Heavenly Patrol Department cannot shirk responsibility. I recall that the largest sect in Qing province, Fire Cloud Palace, had sent people to seek assistance, yet the Heavenly Patrol Department remained unmoved, which is a grave dereliction of duty. Su Qing suddenly stepped forward, recalling that individuals from Fire Cloud Palace had approached him not long ago, offering as much as 200,000 spirit stones, asking for his aid in contacting the Heavenly Patrol Department. Yet in the end, the Heavenly Patrol Department disregarded this, showing no deference to him as the Minister of Ministry of Industry. If so, it seems someone below did not pay attention. I will remind them when I return. Zhang Qingsong lightly glossed over it, his tone unwavering. Master Zhang, I believe from now on, the Heavenly Patrol Department must strike hard against Ghost Ridge Palace, at least freeing Qing province from their control, which is crucial for the Dali dynasty. Su Qing felt that he was ignored by Zhang Qingsong, knelt on the ground with both legs, and asked Wei Cheng for orders. Zhang Aiqing, does the Heavenly Patrol Department have the confidence to defeat Ghost Ridge Palace and retake the land of Qing province? Wei Cheng pondered for a few seconds and asked Zhang Qingsong, Your Majesty, the Heavenly Patrol Department is currently burdened with other responsibilities. It is difficult to undertake this important task. Zhang Qingsong's expression was indifferent as he tactfully refused Wei Cheng's request. The Heavenly Patrol Department is indeed the sword of the Delhi royal family, but it also depends on the situation. When the royal family declines, the imperial power retreats from various places of the Delhi dynasty, and naturally, the power of the imperial authority will also wane in the Heavenly Patrol Department. After all, the Delhi dynasty is now too poor, often unable to afford the expenses to train personnel for the Heavenly Patrol Department, and many resources are acquired by the department's own efforts. Be aware that, regardless of the era, the most crucial factor in controlling an army is financial issues. In many dynasties, even when impoverished to death, the court insisted that the generals cannot dispense military pay on their own. The purpose is to make soldiers aware that it's the emperor feeding them, and following the emperor ensures food on the table. When a military has financial independence, it's worth pondering to whom they truly listen. Take the current Heavenly Patrol Department, for example. Zhang Qingsong's personal strength and prestige is claimed to be the best in the Delhi dynasty, and his repute in the department surpasses the low presence of the imperial authority. Moreover, Zhang Qingsong was a latecomer, joining the Heavenly Patrol Department only after cultivating the Taoist platform realm. He wasn't nurtured by the department from childhood, and therein lies no blind loyalty to the imperial authority. All these factors result in Zhang Qingsong's indifferent and tactful response, in reply to Wei Cheng's prior outright refusal to exchange hostages. Wei Cheng understood the subtext but was helpless. Currently, the Delhi royal family needs to rely on the Heavenly Patrol Department, which houses two Purple Mansion figures. Particularly with Zhang Qingsong, the world's top expert, Wei Cheng doesn't dare to hold them accountable. The imperial authority must compromise with its own sharpened sword. Otherwise, the Heavenly Patrol Department could become a double-edged blade, harming others and itself. After Zhang Qingsong finished speaking, the food hall fell into a silence akin to a cicada in the cold. Careful consideration reveals Zhang Qingsong is childless and treats the adopted Qin Yushang as his own. Now living under the threat of Ghost Ridge Palace holding Qin Yushang, it's clearly unlikely for Zhang Qingsong to ignore Qin Yushang's situation and deploy troops. Mainly regarding Ghost Ridge Palace, the responsibility of the Heavenly Patrol Department is limited. The South has always been a weak region for the department, most of whose resources are focused on the Divine Eagle Empire. Otherwise, the nominal forces wouldn't have resisted the Empire's southward expansion. However, understanding is one thing, and now civil and military officials secretly marveled. Although many of them are involved in various shady activities, openly infringing on the imperial authorities' interests, in front of the emperor, they dare not show such a bad attitude. Zhang! Su Qing opened his mouth, ready to speak, but saw Zhang Qingsong suddenly turn his head. Who might you be? The sudden question dumbfounded Su Qing, who soon became furious and said, I am the Minister of Ministry of Industry, Su Qing. Zhang Director has a short memory. The last time I attended court was 2 years ago. Age brings forgetfulness, and I've forgotten many people. Zhang Qingsong displayed a subtle, intriguing smile, and an invisible aura locked onto Su Qing, mildly saying, Mr. Su, how many family members do you have? I might pay a visit to your household someday. On hearing this, Su Qing's legs instantly weakened. He could hear the threat in Zhang Qingsong's words, implying wiping out his entire family for a disagreeable word. Cold sweat drenched his back, and Su Qing seemed to finally remember that Zhang Qingsong was a Purple Mansion realm expert. For him, wiping out a family was no harder than swatting a fly. Many among the civil and military officials showed schadenfreude in their eyes. Su Qing, being the Minister of Ministry of Industry, managed matters of cultivation, water control, engineering, forging, transportation, and state-run mining for the Delhi dynasty. The most significant among these was managing numerous directly operated spirit material production sites, including several large spirit stone mines. Owing to the enormous power he wielded, Su Qing was always flamboyant in court, and had now hit a hard wall. Zhang Director, I wanted to inquire about a recent batch of Jinxia Star Silk acquired by the Ministry of Industry. This spiritual material fabric can be used to create magic robes, resistant to water and fire, and effectively counteract magic. I plan to donate over 100 sets to the Heavenly Patrol Department to have a Jinxia suit tailored for each high-level official as recognition for their service to the state. Su Qing's body trembled as he bowed 90 degrees to Zhang Qingsong, performing a face-changing act right there. 1,000 sets. Zhang Qingsong nonchalantly spoke, multiplying the number tenfold in one sentence, making Su Qing pay dearly as a consequence for his slip of the tongue. With the title of the Purple Mansion realm and the reputation of the world's top expert, one could indeed act at will even in front of Wei Cheng, the emperor. Good. Su Qing felt a pang of pain in his heart but had no choice but to agree to the domineering Zhang Qingsong. This is because Zhang Qingsong evidently wouldn't engage in palace intrigue or political struggles with him, but instead opted for direct threats of extermination. Who wouldn't fear such threats reinforced by formidable power? A few faint laughs were heard, making Su Qing's face flush, too afraid to speak further. Enough, Zhang Aiqing. If you have another issue, speak up together. Wei Cheng interjected to stop this farce. Otherwise, with Zhang Qingsong's rampage, there was no need for the court session. Watching Zhang Qingsong reprimand others was enough. Zhang Qingsong adjusted his expression and clasped his fists, saying, Your Majesty, the spies we planted within the esoteric Buddhism have sent back news of a large-scale mobilization. According to the intelligence from our spies, the entire esoteric Buddhism is enraged because Su Jie killed the holy monk Aiti Jelua. The esoteric Buddhism is deploying troops and is highly likely to launch a war against the Ghost Ridge Palace. Zhang Qingsong then mentioned another matter, also related to the Ghost Ridge Palace. It couldn't be helped. The Ghost Ridge Palace had indeed drawn too much attention recently. This is wonderful news. Many of the civil and military officials present were visibly relieved upon hearing this. Just moments ago, they were worried about how to deal with the demonic faction of Ghost Ridge Palace, and now the esoteric Buddhism was stepping in, relieving them of their urgent worries. Your Majesty, if the esoteric Buddhism truly acts against the Ghost Ridge Palace, we can simply sit back and watch the tiger fight the wolf, allowing esoteric Buddhism to eliminate the demonic threat of Ghost Ridge Palace, thus bringing the southern lands back under imperial control. Su Qing, having shed his previous fear, exclaimed with excitement. If the Ghost Ridge Palace is eradicated, the Ministry of Industry could then easily take over the spiritual material production sites managed by the Ghost Ridge Palace, adding another source of revenue naturally exciting him. Indeed, it's just as well that the demon Su Jie killed Aidi Jalua. Making esoteric Buddhism seek revenge is ideal, saving us manpower and resources. We can offer some assistance to esoteric Buddhism to help them better deal with the Ghost Ridge Palace. It would be best if the esoteric Buddhism and Ghost Ridge Palace end in mutual destruction. Then we could simply reap the benefits, solving both the long-standing issues of the Ghost Ridge Palace and the esoteric Buddhism. More and more civil and military officials stood up, offering their enthusiastic opinions. However, there were dissenting voices, such as Minister of Revenues Wu Min, who loudly retorted, "What nonsense are you all spouting? The matter of the Ghost Ridge Palace is purely an internal affair of our Delhi dynasty and should be handled internally. Inviting an outsider like the esoteric Buddhism to help is absurd. Are we simply going to sit idly by and allow the monk soldiers of the esoteric Buddhism to enter our territory without question, thereby undermining the dignity of our Delhi dynasty and the authority of the royal family? What will the people of the world think of us? Moreover, have any of you considered that it's easy to invite a god but hard to send one away? If at the time, the esoteric Buddhism achieves a great victory and refuses to leave after occupying the southern part of our Delhi dynasty, how shall we handle that? Is this truly driving away a wolf only to invite a tiger, or even inviting the wolf into the house? Let's not chase away a hooligan only to bring in a robber. And, judging by how the esoteric Buddhism manages its people, the representatives present here shouldn't be oblivious. If the South falls under the control of the esoteric Buddhism, the land will be filled with mind-trance citizens, making our predicament even more challenging than letting the Ghost Ridge Palace continue its hold. Zhu Min's words awoke many, highlighting that while Su Jie belongs to the demon path, the esoteric Buddhism isn't necessarily benevolent either. Wei Cheng frowned slightly, throwing this conundrum back to Zhang Qingsong. Zhang Aiqing, what do you think? Everything depends on your Majesty's instructions. Zhang Qingsong spread his hands, indicating that the Heavenly Patrol Department would act according to the royal family's command. Having somewhat erased his earlier slight against the Emperor, lest the Emperor be troubled with sleepless nights. Then, first, let's contact the esoteric Buddhism and establish an agreement with them that they may eliminate the mastermind Su Jie. But monk soldiers are not allowed to cross the border. Wei Cheng thought for a moment and gave this solution. The esoteric Buddhism has 3 Purple Mansion Realm divine monks who, if they travel swiftly, could directly confront and eliminate Su Jie, this demon. Seeing as they won't be bringing monk soldiers, it indicates esoteric Buddhism doesn't intend to occupy Qingzhou, saving face for the Delhi dynasty. The track of strong experts in the Purple Mansion Realm is hard to follow. It's not that the Delhi dynasty is ignoring them, but rather can't intervene. Without Su Jie, the Purple Mansion demon as its backbone, the forces within the Ghost Ridge Palace, held together by Su Jie's might alone, will certainly disintegrate, thereby dividing the 3 states, leading to complete imperial control during that time. As you command. Zhang Qingsong nodded, while secretly plotting something else in his mind. At the original site of the Ghost Ridge Palace's mountain gate, within the Insect Valley, Su Jie, being hotly debated in the food hall, was unaware that he was being used as a bargaining chip by the Delhi dynasty, with his head intended as an offer in negotiations with the esoteric Buddhism. At this moment, Su Jie's expression was stern as he gazed intently at a mountain peak ahead. No, upon closer inspection, it became clear that it was actually an enormous insect cocoon resembling a mountain. The insect cocoon was a bluish-purple, with its surface covered in countless blood vessels like dragons and serpents, expanding and contracting as if it were a beating heart. Each of its tremors could trigger a major earthquake. The surrounding earth had already cracked, unable to bear the cocoon's immense pressure. Su Jie fixed his gaze on the insect cocoon, which was the thousand-hand centipede undergoing its breakthrough, advancing to a top-grade 9 refinement goo insect. After capturing the Fire Cloud Palace, Su Jie had plundered many valuable resources from it to feed the thousand-hand centipede. There were billions of spirit stones alone, not to mention various rare spiritual materials. Over the years, the thousand-hand centipede had also been nourished by countless poisonous insects on Blue Star. Having accumulated much, the thousand-hand centipede had reached the ultimate limit of its advancement, thus transforming into a gigantic insect cocoon, evolving towards the top-grade 9 refinement goo insect. Ya! Suddenly, an annual ringworm emerged slowly from Su Jie's sleeve, making a few childlike cries to remind him. Indeed, it still lacks a little something. Su Jie felt a twinge in his heart. The thousand-hand centipede, being his life-bound poisonous insect, allowed Su Jie to sense that the centipede's current state was somewhat off. Within the enormous insect cocoon, the atmosphere began to grow chaotic, and the genes went berserk. As expected, the absorption of too many ordinary poisonous insects led to issues with bloodline purification. Su Jie murmured to himself. Before the thousand-handed centipede advanced, Su Jie had a vague feeling that although the thousand-handed centipede met the advancement criteria for a top-grade 9 refinement goo insect, its foundation was somewhat lacking. It's not about quantity. Blue Star has a vast supply of cultivated poisonous insects for feeding. It's about quality. Normally, top-grade 9 refinement goo insects grow and evolve step by step from countless battles and devouring of powerful poisonous insects. A case like the thousand-handed centipede, reaching top-grade 9 refinement by consuming low-grade poisonous insects, might be the first in eternity. The absence of certain powerful poisonous insect genes in its body hindered the evolution of the thousand-handed centipede, making it less perfect. Even if it could successfully evolve, it might later restrict the potential of the thousand-handed centipede. Luckily, I prepared in advance. Su Jie understood the crux of the problem and immediately unleashed the Blood Sea devouring Sky Demon skill. An endless blood sea emerged from the Sky Dome, continuously spreading to the 4 corners of Insect Valley. Within Insect Valley, countless poisonous insects fluttered their wings in alarm, emitting terrified cries beneath the blood sea. Some had already begun to flee in all directions. But what the Blood Sea devouring Sky Demon skill exhibited by Su Jie at the Purple Mansion realm was not something poisonous insects could escape from easily. Boom! The blood sea surged, blood waves steamed, transforming into mountainous giant wave peaks that rapidly closed in on those poisonous insects, capturing and imprisoning them with a terrifying might that annihilated everything. Hiss! Hiss! A high-grade 6 refinement rock evil sandworm desperately burrowed underground, with a menacing mouthpart more formidable than any tunnel-boring machine. Slash! Yet, in the next second, the blood sea seeped below, turning the earth into a bloody mire, the blood diving deep, transforming into ropes directly wrapping around the 10-meter-long rock evil sandworm. As the blood with intense corrosive power kept the rock evil sandworm struggling, its surface erupted in a murky yellow glow. Under the yellow glow, the neighboring dense soil transformed entirely into rock and quicksand. Even secret realm elders, if shown by this yellow light, would transform into a statue, a terrifying special ability. However, Su Jie's Blood Sea devouring Sky Demon skill was incomparably powerful, the boundless blood sea producing more blood strands binding the worm. No matter how many tricks the rock evil sandworm tried, it couldn't escape, eventually being drawn out from the depths of the earth by countless blood strands. In midair, Su Jie stood atop the blood waves, hooking a blood strand with his right hand, with the rock evil sandworm bound at the end of it. Off you go! Su Jie's mouth curved into a smirk, his arm swinging, flinging the obese high-grade 6 refinement poisonous insect into the giant cocoon where the thousand-handed centipede was advancing. At present, as the thousand-handed centipede was evolving, It craved the high-quality poisonous insect genes, accepting them without reservation. The giant cocoon split open, countless pale corpse hands emerged, firmly grasping the rock evil sandworm, dragging it into the cocoon. There were horrifying screeching sounds from the rock evil sandworm and the noise of blood spraying and muscles tearing. The cocoon twitched a few times, then fell silent, rendering the scene terrifyingly creepy. Su Jie examined carefully and delightedly discovered the cocoon's silhouette had enlarged again. Effective. Seeing this result, Su Jie smiled. That was the reason he purposely chose the advancement location within the insect valley. When it came to abundant, powerful poisonous insects, it was, of course, here in Insect Valley. After confirming the method's effectiveness, Su Jie returned to his long-lost profession, becoming an insect catcher. Unlike before, when Su Jie caught non-graded human-faced moths, now he was catching at least middle-grade start poisonous insects. 8 demon crab, iron thorn centipede, mysterious nether scorpion snake, black-winged fire spider, ghostly poison bat, nightmare silkworm, ghost-faced scissor ant. One powerful poisonous insect after another was engulfed by Su Jie's blood sea, thrown as sustenance for the thousand-handed centipede. These powerful poisonous insects that could dominate a region in Insect Valley had no room to resist against Su Jie. With Su Jie feeding more and more poisonous insects, the giant cocoon of the thousand-handed centipede became even larger, absorbing the diverse genes of these powerful poisonous insects, continuously enhancing its foundation and making substantial progress. The reinforcement of genes would make the growth path smoother for the thousand-handed centipede after advancing to 9th grade. Thus, the cocoon expanding through the absorption of numerous powerful poisonous insect genes exuded increasingly fierce and unruly aura unique to poisonous insects with each passing day. In the blink of an eye, a week had passed. As early as 3 days ago, the cocoon of the thousand-handed centipede had stopped consuming. Luckily, it left behind seeds of some powerful poisonous insects in Insect Valley. Otherwise, Su Jie would have devastated the entire valley. Here it comes. Suddenly, Su Jie, who was seated cross-legged beside the cocoon, had his eyes light up. Just as he finished speaking, a crack climbed the insect cocoon that had been pulsating for a full week. The second, the third, the fourth. In a mere moment, more and more large cracks climbed across the insect cocoon. A thundering roar echoed, causing the ground to quake and the mountains to shake. Accompanied by an earth-shattering howl, the insect cocoon exploded, revealing a terrifying insect figure swooping into the air, facing Su Jie. Su Jie looked up, seeing a massive insect shadow covering the sky and sun above the sky dome. The colossal body stretched over 3,000 meters, and as its crimson scales flew at high speed, they erupted dark purple flames from friction with the air. Patches of crimson scale armor were as large as 10 meters, densely growing on the mountainous insect body. 1,000 pale corpse hands pressed against the air, resembling pillars hanging down from the sky dome, supporting the thousand-hand centipede's serpentine body like a sprawling mountain range. As it skimmed low over the land, hard earth cracked into deep valleys, and as 6 pairs of purple cloud wings flapped, the land turned into hot lava. Roar! The thousand-hand centipede roared excitedly, diving into the ground and joyfully rolling around. Beneath it was originally a vein of black iron or one of Ghost Ridge Palace's spiritual material production sites. The earth and iron, or supposed to be sturdy, yielded like soft cake before the thousand-hand centipede, unable to resist even slightly. When the thousand-hand centipede landed, it pressed the surrounding earth down entirely. The ground couldn't endure the weight of the thousand-hand centipede. Half of its body sunk into the iron, or only its back remained above the ground, looking like the earth suddenly lifted up into a mountain ridge. Even the black iron ore was ignited by the high temperature carried by the thousand-hand centipede, rapidly forming an enormous sea of magma. The thousand-hand centipede rolled back and forth, sweeping away waves of 10,000 meters high, playing like a child, melting the black iron deep within the earth vein completely. Countless melted black iron transformed into flowing iron juice, dripping from the thousand-hand centipede's mountainous body, forming a layer of keratinized iron armor. Raising its head from the sea of magma, the thousand-hand centipede's fierce and domineering triangular head, with vertical pupil compound eyes reflecting red light, grew rugged curved horns, resembling a crown of dragons flipped upon it. Roar! The thousand-hand centipede, absorbed in playing, roared towards the sky, hot winds sweeping across all directions, igniting forests, shattering the earth, each breath carrying an atmosphere as if it could burn the sky dome to ashes. The scene spectacularly grand. Gosh, it's too big. Su Jie sucked in a cold breath, looking at the thousand-hand centipede's posture, momentarily astounded. The thousand-hand centipede of top grade 8 refinements was 500 meters long. Now it escalated to 3,000 meters with 9 refinements. From a distance, the body covered in red scales extended to the horizon, each shell segment engraved with ferocious patterns of heaven and earth. Each slight movement of the 1,000 pale limbs, every flip of the mountainous body, could cause undulating earthquakes underground, making mountains tremble, silencing all things, drawing sulfur fire columns bursting from volcanoes hundreds of miles away. It's not a little bug anymore. Behind Su Jie, Han Ruyan had arrived at an unknown time, watching the thousand-hand centipede frolic in the magma sea. Her clear, cold eyes rarely showed a hint of surprise. She too had seen the thousand-hand centipede grow step by step. It was just a little bug at first. Now it's grown into a 3,000-meter-long bug. The change is quite substantial. Han Ruyan could feel the fierce and domineering aura exuding from the thousand-hand centipede, instinctively raising a strong vigilance within her heart. This meant the thousand-hand centipede's strength was already enough to threaten her life safety. It's worth noting, after advancing to 9th grade Fierce Ghost, her strength far exceeded other 9th grade Fierce Ghosts, undoubtedly reaching Purple Mansion realm strength. But now, after the thousand-hand centipede advanced to upper grade 9 refinements, its strength leapt forward significantly, at least equaling her state. Sizzle. Having played for a few minutes, the thousand-hand centipede, seeing Su Jie on the other side, jubilantly broke through the sea, flying towards Su Jie. Yeah! Above Su Jie's head, the annual ringworm arched its body, uttering a sound towards the thousand-hand centipede, a tone expressing joy, also happy for the centipede's promotion to top grade 9 refinement goo insect. Su Jie watched the thousand-hand centipede descending from the sky, feeling the excitement within its body, smiling. Go! Take me for a fly. The thousand-hand centipede nodded repeatedly, its small actions stirring gusts, uprooting surrounding trees. Su Jie stepped onto the centipede's head. As it soared into the air, before leaving, it called out proudly towards Han Ruyan, seemingly showing off, or perhaps provoking. Boring. Han Ruyan glanced, her physical actions contradicting her words. The blood-colored wedding dress like a long river of red filament spanned sky and earth, her figure quickly disappearing. This instantly sparked competitive spirit in the thousand-hand centipede, flapping its 6 pairs of purple cloud wings, wanting to contest Han Ruyan. Standing atop the thousand-hand centipede's head, as it accelerated, white clouds and blue seas floated like duckweed, mountains and land extending beneath, sparking overwhelming heroism in Su Jie. Ha ha ha, Xiao Qian, from today onwards, you're a top grade 9 refinement goo insect. Su Jie laughed heartily, unable to resist constant sighing. Just recently in the wild, when he found the thousand-hand centipede and contracted it to become his life-bound poisonous insect. At that time, the thousand-hand centipede was still an inferior poisonous insect, about the length of a chopstick, following Su Jie, living in Ghost Ridge Palace from hand to mouth. Sometimes Su Jie even had to draw his own blood to feed it, until later when returning to Blue Star, good days arrived. Now, after more than 10 years, the thousand-hand centipede has reached the pinnacle of goo insects, becoming the ultimate top-grade 9 refinement goo insect of heaven and earth. The changes it went through, outsiders find it unimaginable, especially the disciples and elders of Ghost Ridge Palace. Such speed in cultivating goo insects surely refreshes their worldview. Although many Ghost Ridge Palace disciples believe that their sect master possesses the innate insect cultivation holy body. Yet, cultivating an inferior poisonous insect to a top-grade 9 refinement goo insect in just over a decade is truly astonishing. Just by comparison, one can understand that the sect treasure of Ghost Ridge Palace, the annual ringworm, lived in the wild for hundreds of years and was contracted by the previous sect masters for centuries, accumulating a millennium lifespan to finally cultivate into a top-grade 9 refinement goo insect. From this, it can be seen just how exaggerated it is for Su Jie to cultivate a 1,000-hand centipede to a top-grade 9 refinement goo insect in just a few short years. Su Jie sighed in his heart, looking at the 1,000-hand centipede, like a father watching his children finally succeed, filled with a comforting smile. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The 1,000-hand centipede nudged Su Jie with its antennae, conveying inner joy through this manner to Su Jie. Su Jie was happy for it to advance to a top-grade 9 refinement goo insect, and the 1,000-hand centipede was no less thrilled. After advancing to a top-grade 9 refinement goo insect, it can finally help Su Jie defeat more formidable enemies. Squeak! The annual ringworm jumped off Su Jie's body, hopped to the brow between the 1,000-hand centipede's eyes. Both being top-grade 9 refinement goo insects, they follow completely different evolution paths. The 1,000-hand centipede grows larger with each evolution, while the annual ringworm's size remains virtually unchanged. Therefore, when compared side by side, the annual ringworm seems as small as a speck of dust in front of the 1,000-hand centipede, barely noticeable if not paid close attention to. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The 1,000-hand centipede happily wiggled its body, showing its growth to the annual ringworm. Squeak, squeak. The annual ringworm responded constantly, with its sesame-sized eyes filled with joy, displaying a proud glow for the 1,000-hand centipede. Usually lethargic, the annual ringworm appeared particularly lively today, because in the past it was the only top-grade 9 refinement goo insect within the Delhi Dynasty territory, and now it finally has a companion. The two top-grade 9 refinement goo insects communicated in insect language, fostering an incredibly friendly atmosphere. Yet, in fact, the annual ringworm was quietly competing with Han Ruyan. It accelerated ceaselessly, resembling the eye of a storm, its 6 pairs of cloud wings flapping, creating a super typhoon in its wake. Meanwhile, changes occurred within the 1,000-hand centipede's insect body. The power of the Tao River was invoked. The mountain-like silhouette of the 1,000-hand centipede's segmented insect body became blurry. Clusters of ghostly blue flame magma intertwined with scale armor, transforming the sturdy insect armor into flames, not ordinary flames, but rather void abyss phosphorus fire. This is a type of flame that appears in the Tao River, terrifyingly powerful, capable of burning both the soul and the Yang God. Purple Mansion cultivators with Yang Gods projecting into the Tao River most fear this kind of void abyss phosphorus fire, as being scorched by it leads to severe consequences even if they survive. It's not just the scale armor. From the winding back of the 1,000-hand centipede, a dragon-shaped crown on its head formed into an ice crystal. The prism refracted and distorted the surrounding void, transforming space into a hexagonal honeycomb mirrored structure. Through this layer of the mirror surface, one could faintly see the ancient persistent phantom of the Tao River, seemingly trying to shatter the boundary between the Tao River and the physical world, the fearsome Tao's majesty shaking the entire void. A pair of insect compound eyes transformed into a thunder vortex, layers of thunder intertwined, alternating a flickering amber vertical pupil, with every blink striking lightning spontaneously in the void. A mountain peak stared at by the 1,000-hand centipede got instantly obliterated by thunder, leaving behind a deep abyss. Its flesh and blood manifested into a metallic and earthen hue, along with the 3,000-meter body of the 1,000-hand centipede, resembling a living flying mountain range. Thousands of pale corpse hands morphed into the most unrestrained breeze. Though the breeze should be formless, it shone with a color of pure purple light, utterly sacred, like the heaven's purple aura during the ascension of ancient sages, accelerating the speed of the 1,000-hand centipede to the extreme. Void abyss phosphorus fire, 9 heavens frost ice, jade void thunder, heavenly breath soil, rootless iron, Tao purple chi cloud. The 1,000-hand centipede's body was no longer confined to a typical flesh and blood form, transforming into a body constructed of various energies, substances, and void. These energies and substances are not the ordinary metal, wood, water, fire, or earth, only appearing in the Tao River where specific energies and dangers converge, now becoming part of the thousand-hand centipede's body. Even observing sends shivers down one's spine, let alone facing the thousand-hand centipede incarnate as a natural disaster. Shao Qian, you are increasingly assuming the demeanor of a Tao chaos creature. Su Jie brightened his gaze. As early as the top grade 8 refinement goo insect stage, the thousand-hand centipede already exhibited a trend toward evolving into a Tao chaos creature. Now advancing to a top grade 9 refinement goo insect, Su Jie already understood what spirit refining ability Shao Qian acquired, called chaos assimilation. This spirit refining, although not as direct as the pale corpse hand, the purple light ray, the death decline curse cloud, the skyfire breath, or physical transformation it achieved. But it can gradually adapt the thousand-hand centipede to the powers of the Tao River, ultimately allowing the thousand-hand centipede to evolve towards becoming a Tao chaos creature, until it becomes a true Tao chaos creature. The saying goes, the great Tao is formless, the great Tao has no apparition. The current state of the thousand-hand centipede's body can no longer be simply viewed as flesh and substance. It's like a manifestation of Tao's power in the mortal world. Normal Tao chaos creatures, those residing within the Tao River as rulers, every grown Tao chaos creature is an extremely terrifying existence. Void realm cultivators can only start delving deep into the void, but many Tao chaos creatures are naturally imbued with void power, even the power of spacetime. As Purple Mansion realm cultivators' Dharma forms are all modeled after Tao chaos creatures. Although a young god can barely operate within the Tao River, there remains a significant gap to the freedom enjoyed by Tao chaos creatures, and the power derived from the Tao River is far from sufficient. Therefore, Purple Mansion cultivators, upon advancing, will project their young god the first chance they get, enter the Tao River to find the time-space shadow left behind by Tao chaos creatures, using it as a template to remodel their young god into the shape of a Tao chaos creature, thereby maximizing the young god's borrowed power from the Tao River. A chaos creature that resides in the Tao River cannot be compared to by mere Purple Mansion realm entities. They are born rulers of the Tao River. The thousand-hand centipede now advances further toward evolving into a Tao River chaos creature, before only its body could transform into ordinary flame, water, and thunder. Now it can convert into the devastating catastrophic energies unique to the Tao River like void abyss phosphorus fire, marking an enormous advancement. This also signifies that the thousand-hand centipede is on the right path. Buzz! The thousand-hand centipede continued to accelerate, finally surpassing Han Ruyan, instantly as gleeful as a child, jubilantly dancing in the air, emitting a triumphant hiss. With tendencies toward voidification, chaos, and Tao transformation, the thousand-hand centipede can already rival Han Ruyan. In terms of the most dominant attack power and defense, it is even stronger than Han Ruyan, except for the level of strangeness and volatility. It doesn't surpass Han Ruyan, the ghost. Han Ruyan's expression didn't change much. She merely chuckled lightly. You serve the husband as your master, then I am the mistress. Alas, you can't speak, else you'd be asked to say it. The thousand-hand centipede's compound eyes sparked with thunder, buzzed incessantly, indicating it only listens to Su Jie, not obeying a word from you, the female ghost. Seeing this familiar scene, Su Jie couldn't help but shake his head, saying to Han Ruyan, it's the thousand-hand centipede's advancement today. Don't provoke it. Han Ruyan rolled her eyes at Su Jie, gracefully turned and floated away, refusing to compete with the thousand-hand centipede. Su Jie patted the head of the thousand-hand centipede, saying, Shao Qian, begin the Qi blood energy backfeeding. Will I succeed in advancing to the Purple Mansion middle stage this time? Refining the upper elixir? It all depends on you. Buzz. Shao Qian nodded anthropomorphically, its colossal body decreasing explosively, finally reduced to the length of a chopstick, as if it were the size Su Jie initially encountered, then lay on Su Jie's chest, commencing to backfeed its endless Qi blood energy from its advanced to top grade 9 refinement goo insect into Su Jie's body. As Su Jie's life-bound poisonous insect, every step of growth and breakthrough correlates to an increase in the host's cultivation strength, which is customary for most Ghost Ridge Palace disciples, but they do not possess a top-grade 9 refinement goo insect, nor do they contemplate issues like the Purple Mansion middle stage. Su Jie simultaneously activated the 100 poison refining goo scripture, borrowing the chi blood energy of the 1,000-hand centipede, fervently impacting the upper elixir within his sea of consciousness. He was eager to advance, intending to step into the Purple Mansion middle stage realm. Time waits for no one. The world's trend is like oil boiling with fire. Without achieving the Purple Mansion middle stage, how could he aspire to the highest seat of the Delhi dynasty? As the vast amounts of chi and blood were absorbed by Su Jie's technique, his entire skin gradually reddened and heated up, with steam swirling from the top of his head. The restless chi and blood rampaged through Su Jie's meridians and acupoints like wild horses, eager to break free from the constraints of the physical body. If Su Jie were not of Purple Mansion cultivation, a Dao platform realm cultivator undergoing such an impact would have had their body explode on the spot into pieces. However, Su Jie was nonetheless uncomfortable at this moment. The chi and blood of the 1,000-hand centipede were overwhelmingly powerful, with its 3,000-meter-long body weighing in billions of tons due to its dense flesh and bones. These are extraordinarily exaggerated figures, naturally leading to the immense strength of the 1,000-hand centipede's chi and blood. Even a slight spill can ignite the Shentian mine vein, let alone such fierce feedback. Crack! Su Jie's body turned into a massive furnace, like parched earth after a drought. His skin cracking open with blood spilling out all over. Sizzle! The 1,000-hand centipede sensed Su Jie's condition, instinctively slowing down the feedback of chi and blood, calling out with some concern. Xiao Qian, continue. Su Jie opened his eyes, instructing the 1,000-hand centipede to increase its power. Such pain could not shake Su Jie's will. He focused all his energy on refining the upper elixir within his sea of consciousness, commanding the 1,000-hand centipede to continue the influx of chi and blood within the upper elixir of the sea of consciousness. Su Jie's young god condensed into a 100-meter-tall golden-armored god, wielding a thunder axe constructed of purple cloud divine thunder, forcefully striking into the empty void. Behind him, the surge of chi and blood transformed into smoke waves, feeding back from Xiao Qian's body, rising like tides with each of Su Jie's strikes, relentlessly pounding into the void's darkness. The upper elixir is not a certain acupoint in the human body. It is hidden deep within the sea of consciousness, also known as the Mudball Primordial Spirit Mansion. This is the mansion of hidden spirits, the storage of the body's innate chi, concerning the foundational spiritual roots of the human body. Breaking through it is inherently extremely difficult. Boom! 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 One axe after another, Su Jie wielded. The chi and blood flowed like inexhaustible tides. In the dark and empty void, the intertwining of electricity and chi and blood gradually began to change. Originally dull and lightless, the void gradually revealed a faint multicolored sheen. It was as if a barrier had been chiseled open, allowing Su Jie to begin observing the interior landscape beyond. The multicolored halo exhibited surging vitality, ultimately producing more and more cracking sounds, opening a person-sized gap in the darkness by Su Jie's strikes. Rumble. In the external world, the sky dropped the essence of sun, moon, and starlight around Su Jie's body, while the ground produced blooming fire lotuses and flowing sweet springs. The sky has 3 treasures: the sun, moon, and stars. The earth has 3 treasures: water, fire, and wind. Humans have 3 treasures: spirit, chi, and essence. Where the upper elixir resides, within lies the treasures of spirit, chi, and essence. The 3 treasures of heaven, earth, and man are one. As Su Jie refines the upper elixir, heaven and earth resonate, revealing various phenomena around Su Jie's body. As the phenomena reveal, streams of innate chi surged from the upper elixir into Su Jie's limbs and bones. The originally damaged body of Su Jie underwent an earth-shattering change under this injection of innate chi. In the void, the essence of sun, moon, and starlight wrapped around Su Jie's flesh and blood, forming Su Jie's heart with sunlight, transforming it into a mighty sun that radiated limitless power. The moonlight formed Su Jie's blood, with each drop of silver-tinted blood falling to earth like the reflection of a cold moon, filling the area with brilliance. Starlight entered Su Jie's 7 orifices, refining them into star acupoints, where abilities like the 1,000-mile eye and sharp-hearing ear became the most basic capabilities. The fire lotuses and Ganlu emerging from the ground composed Su Jie's flesh and bones, merging with the innate qi and reshaping Su Jie's physical body. Su Jie's physical form was reversing from acquired into an innate divine body. Reaching this step indicated that Su Jie had successfully traversed the path of the Purple Mansion middle stage, and with orderly progress as his body remodeled and reshaped, he could smoothly refine the upper elixir and achieve the Purple Mansion middle stage. Not enough, still not enough. However, Su Jie's ambition did not stop there. Eyeing the gap in the void's darkness before the sea of consciousness, Su Jie withdrew large jars full of blood from his storage bag. This blood comes from the cultivators of Qingzhou, Qing Province, and Chongzhou, their quality beyond that of ordinary mortals. This essence blood was naturally provided under the request of Ghost Ridge Palace. From disciples of the Secret Realm to sect masters of the Dao Platform Realm, faced with the demand of the Purple Mansion True Demon, Su Jie, the terror of the 3 states, no one dared to refuse. After all, giving blood wasn't the same as draining their bodies. Offering just a portion of their blood had no impact on their health, and was far better than rejecting and having Ghost Ridge Palace come at their doorstep. If that time came, the extraction wouldn't be just a little blood. Their lives could be at risk, potentially being drained entirely dry. Blood Sea Devouring Sky Demon Skill. With a low shout, Su Jie activated the Blood Sea Devouring Sky Demon Skill, refining and absorbing all this essence blood from the cultivators. Boom! Su Jie's Blood Sea Devouring Sky Demon Skill, after obtaining the essence blood of these cultivators and the accumulation from Blue Star, has once again broken through, reaching the 11th level. The holy blood surged fiercely in continual refinement. Su Jie, with Blood Sea Devouring Sky Demon Skill empowered, wielded the Thunder Axe, slashing viciously at the void in his sea of consciousness, gradually widening the upper elixir gap, causing more innate qi to flow out, maximizing the benefits of this breakthrough ascension. Gradually, the gap in the sea of consciousness expanded from the size of a person to several times larger, turning into a circumference of 10 feet. Yet, that was not the end, as the 1,000-handed centipede absorbed and emitted essence blood, mingling with a trace of Tao River's aura. This was its evolutionary trait as a Tao chaos creature. Because Su Jie's body was starting to transform into an innate divine body, he could bear more of its essence blood empowerment. In terms of human body strength, naturally, it is not comparable to the 1,000-handed centipede with its growth traits dictated by nature, measured in million tons. Just like on Blue Star, human body strength is nowhere near a gorilla's. Even if a silverback gorilla is caged in a zoo, eating well and sleeping all day, and a human exercises tirelessly from childhood, by the time they grow up, the difference in physical fitness is still visible to the naked eye. The 1,000-handed centipede's essence blood feedback became increasingly intense, with the gap of the upper elixir in the sea of consciousness expanding to 30 feet in circumference. It had reached Su Jie's limit. Going further would be too much, overwhelming both the body and the soul. The sunlight and starlight descending from the sky were purer, as were the fire lotus and spring from the ground, offering more benefits to Su Jie's physical body. Every heartbeat triggered ripples in the surrounding void, with the blood flowing through his limbs and bones causing the spiritual power within a 1,000-mile radius to rush into Su Jie's body like the sea accepting 100 rivers. This process lasted for 3 whole days. After 3 days, when the final transformation was complete, Su Jie suddenly opened his eyes and stood up from his seated position. Just this slight movement sent web-like cracks spreading to the edge of vision. This feeling, Su Jie perceived the changes within his body, looking down at his palm. The skin of his arm was crystal clear and delicate, without any impurities, like jade, with jade bones and golden muscles. He clenched his fingers tightly into a fist and swung it forward. Bam! The void cracked, the fist wind enveloped with Gang Qi, plowing out a vacuum tunnel tens of thousands of meters wide through the clouds. The landscape ahead surged with dragons and snakes, forests of 10,000 hectares collapsing like dominoes, the earth's crust boiling like asphalt, cracking into a bottomless abyss, with underground rivers and magma spurting up, forming towering waves of turbid water and burning lava, mixing with hot river water to produce steaming vapors that obscured everything in sight. The sky, like a piece of Xian paper crumpled by a giant hand, with earth fragments falling into the cracked abyss. The force of one punch had rewritten 100 miles of terrain. This was the power of the middle-stage Purple Mansion realm's innate divine body. Every punch and kick carried the might of the ancient heavenly people. Su Jie was not just any middle-stage Purple Mansion, because with the deepening refinement of the upper elixir, his physical combat power improved more than ordinary middle-stage Purple Mansion cultivators. Middle-stage Purple Mansion. Achieved. Su Jie's smile widened as he looked at the punch he casually threw. This supreme boost in combat power rewarded all of his hard preparation, elevating his power significantly. Zizi. The thousand-handed centipede climbed onto Su Jie's shoulder, its antennae twitching, excitedly taking credit for itself. Xiao Qian. You are the chief contributor. Su Jie smiled and patted the head of the thousand-handed centipede, causing it to squint with joy, overjoyed to the point of ecstasy. Its happiness was simple. The recognition from its master was the greatest praise. Congratulations, husband. Han Ruyan drifted over, observing the transformation in Su Jie's body. At this moment, Su Jie's body could indeed be described as a divine body. With a stronger body, I can better be with my wife. Su Jie raised an eyebrow, smiling as he spoke. Han Ruyan seemed to think of something, her pretty face slightly flushed. As for the annual ringworm, it looked at Su Jie with a mature nod, muttering a few sounds. Oh, I'm the strongest sect master you've ever seen, naturally, for I am Su Jie. Su Jie laughed heartily. The middle-stage Purple Mansion cultivation, Blood Sea devouring Sky Demon skill at level 11, coupled with 9th grade Fierce Ghost Han Ruyan and top grade 9 Refinement Goo Worm Thousand-Handed Centipede. Su Jie was undoubtedly content, feeling that the world was vast and he could reach it. Being so strong at middle-stage Purple Mansion, I wonder what the heavenly palace at late-stage Purple Mansion would be like. Su Jie murmured to himself. Refining the upper elixir to its utmost would lead to opening the Sensing Heaven Palace, the late-stage Purple Mansion realm. The Purple Mansion is the title for the celestial residence, a palace where immortals dwell. Late-stage Purple Mansion requires refining void into reality in the sea of consciousness, establishing a celestial palace within the body for the Yang God to reside. Only then can one ascend high to become an emperor, ruling over all life as a supreme master. All life refers to the cells in one's body. A grain of sand is a world, a leaf a bodhi. Once Su Jie excavates the potential of his human cells, his body functions will usher in another earth-shaking transformation. Qingzhou, Firefly Sea. Within the newly constructed sect master's chamber of the Ghost Ridge Palace, Su Jie was currently testing the new body strength with Han Ruyan. The results of the experiment were also quite satisfactory. Although Han Ruyan was a 9th grade Fierce Ghost, the Ghost Empress, Su Jie, relying on the innate divine body he had refined, still firmly held the main position. In addition, it was about governing the 3 states, but now the Ghost Ridge Palace, under Su Jie's guidance, had entered the right track. With the example of Qingzhou, as long as they copied it, there would basically be no mistakes in the system reform of Chongzhou and Qing province. The most important thing was that as long as Su Jie personally presided over the day, like a stabilizer, the 3 states would not fall into chaos. The Ghost Ridge Palace could implement its policy step by step without fearing those righteous and demon sects refusing to comply, unless they were not afraid of Su Jie inviting them for a chat. Furthermore, Su Jie specifically dispatched a team of cultivators to head toward the western regions. Su Jie did not forget the war token from the esoteric sect of the western regions. Although he didn't know if the esoteric Buddhism was serious, it was always good to be prepared, and Su Jie planned to investigate the situation. However, most of the time, Su Jie took advantage of this rare leisure to accompany the 2 women, Lu Yingying and Han Ruyan. Well, such delightful days lasted for several days, and just when Su Jie was somewhat reluctant to leave, An unexpected guest disrupted this situation. Su Jie appeared in the reception hall, where besides Su Jie, there was another woman present, Qin Yushang. Bring the people from the Heavenly Patrol Department over. Su Jie waved his hand, ordering the law enforcement team. Yes, the disciple of the law enforcement team swiftly departed. Heavenly Patrol Department. Upon hearing Su Jie's words, Qin Yushang immediately turned her gaze, realizing why Su Jie had invited her to this meeting. Soon, footsteps were heard from outside the hall. A middle-aged scholar in a blue robe with wide sleeves followed the disciple of the law enforcement team, walking slowly into the hall. He had a mutton-fat jade ring hanging from his waist, his phoenix eyes half closed, making him appear gentle as jade, exuding a peaceful aura. G1 from the Heavenly Star residence of the Heavenly Patrol Department greets Su Sect Master, wishing Su Sect Master eternal prosperity and immortal blessings. The scholarly man introduced himself, then clasped his hands in salute towards Su Jie, displaying perfect etiquette and graceful moves, seamless and smooth. Uncle Ji, why are you here? Upon seeing the middle-aged scholar, Qin Yushang's face showed a look of surprise. Heavenly Star Residence is an institution of the Heavenly Patrol Department, specifically responsible for the evaluation, promotion, punishment, and task distribution of the cultivators of the Heavenly Patrol Department. G1 was the administrator in charge of managing Heavenly Star Residence, with strength at the second level of the Secret Realm. This strength was only mid-level within the Heavenly Patrol Department, which was full of experts, not even having refined the primordial spirit. Because he himself was not focused on cultivation, in the Tianyuan world where strength was paramount, whether it was the sect leader or disciples, the main focus was always on enhancing one's own strength, and the Heavenly Patrol Department was no exception. However, the Heavenly Patrol Department had countless events, large and small, as well as various management actions, all requiring someone to execute. Strong cultivators who focused on practice wouldn't manage personally, and this required administrators like G1 to do such tasks, which was the same in the Ghost Ridge Palace. Administrators were specifically for serving the cultivators of the Heavenly Patrol Department, so cultivation naturally wasn't that important. However, there were many administrators in the Heavenly Patrol Department, and they were divided into various ranks. The administrator who could manage such an important position as Heavenly Star residents had a different status. Ji-Wen had served as Daoist child for Zhang Qingsong since childhood, despite having poor talent and belonging to the worst spirit root. However, with Zhang Qingsong's backing, it is said, under the Prime Minister's staff, a 7th grade official can be found. Ji-Wen attained this important position and was able to reach the secret realm, a level he could never have dreamed of in his lifetime without abundant resources. Qin Yushang, being raised by Zhang Qingsong and growing up in the Heavenly Patrol Department, naturally knew that Ji-Wen was a confidant of Director Zhang Qingsong. Yushang. The director ordered me to come here. Ji-Wen glanced at Qin Yushang, noting her rosy complexion and lack of any signs of injury or mistreatment. He immediately understood. It seemed Qin Yushang was doing quite well here with Su Jie. Ji-Wen, your Heavenly Patrol Department still has a warrant for my arrest, right? I remember the bounty being about 1,800,000,000 spirit stones. Don't you fear for your life coming here alone? Su Jie scrutinized Ji-Wen, suddenly slamming the table and shouting. A top-grade magic treasure is worth over 10 million spirit stones, while a low-grade spirit treasure costs at least 100,000,000 spirit stones. Su Jie's arrest warrant was as high as 1,850,000,000 spirit stones, which could be exchanged for over 100 top-grade magic treasures, or a dozen low-grade spirit treasures. It can be said that Su Jie's head is extremely valuable within the Daili dynasty, which also shows the Daili royal family's apprehension towards Su Jie, wishing nothing more than to eliminate him swiftly. Su Sect Master, the bounty matter was my responsibility to publish, but the bounty is just a paper figure. We at the Heavenly Patrol Department don't have that much money, and neither does the royal family. This bounty was issued without the real intention for anyone to claim it. Moreover, the Heavenly Patrol Department must obey the royal family's orders. We can only issue bounties as instructed by the royal family. I am just a mere secret realm cultivator. insignificant in front of Su Sect Master. If my head could bring Su Sect Master a smile and lift any misunderstanding towards the Heavenly Patrol Department, I am willing to sever it personally and offer my own head. Ji Wen faced Su Jie's rebuke, appearing neither overbearing nor servile. If it were anyone else here, hearing Su Jie's reputation as a giant of the demon path, they might be scared out of their wits. Not bad courage. Su Jie was a bit surprised and then said, "Speak, the purpose of the Heavenly Patrol Department. My time is very precious. I dare not. In front of Su Sect Master, how could I dare to mention the word courage?" Ji Wen steadied himself, pointing at Qin Yushang, saying, "Su Sect Master, Qin Yushang is an important member of our Heavenly Patrol Department. She is designated as our future Purple Mansion genius, and we hope to exchange her back." Exchange her back? With what? On the strength of your Heavenly Patrol Department's name? Your Heavenly Patrol Department doesn't have that kind of prestige. Su Jie crossed his legs, looking intently at Ji Wen, wanting to see what substantial offer Ji Wen could propose in exchange. Qin Yushang felt her heart lift. If it were possible, she naturally wanted to return to the Heavenly Patrol Department as soon as possible. Ji Wen took out an envelope, saying, "This is our Heavenly Patrol Department's sincerity, a letter personally written by the director, containing an important piece of information, which the director ordered me to deliver to you. Read it." Su Jie remained calm, wanting to see how sincere the Heavenly Patrol Department really was. "Having long esteemed your great name but unable to meet, I send this letter to pour out my heart. The esoteric Buddhism has already started moving massively at the beginning of this month. The 3 great divine monks have successively ended their seclusion. The royal family has sent ambassadors to the esoteric Buddhism, intending to reach cooperation with them, using foreign forces to eradicate the demon scourge. My beloved disciple Yushang has been a guest at your residence for a long time. Please understand the old man's longing and allow my disciple to return to Delhi City to reunite with family during the Shibai festival." Ji Wen read the contents of the envelope with power and strength, without any errors or omissions. As Su Jie listened to the contents above, the smile that had been on his face gradually faded, and an intangible atmosphere of killing intent enveloped the hall. Ji Wen's speech slowed as he reached the latter part, affected by Su Jie's aura. He felt as if a towering mountain weighed on him, making even breathing difficult, and he was horrified within. Although his strength was only at the secret realm, following Zhang Qingsong he had seen much of the world, observed countless experts, not to mention Zhang Qingsong, who was reputed as Dali Dynasty's #1 master. Having seen many masters, he prided himself on remaining unfazed by a strong man's aura. But under the intangible aura enveloping him from Su Jie, even a calm gaze made Ji Wen's skin crawl, feeling as though skin was pierced by thousands of sharp blades. This let Ji Wen realize that Su Jie's reputation as a demon path giant was truly not just talk. Esoteric Buddhism, truly bold beyond measure. As Su Jie raised his eyes for a moment, it seemed like the stars reversed, the 7 killing star descended, and the void turned oppressive and suffocating, as though gravity was continuously increasing. Su Jie anticipated that esoteric Buddhism might not let Jalua Saint Monk's death go unavenged, but to verify it along with the involvement of the Delhi dynasty's royal family was coincidental. Clearly, to solve Su Jie, the Delhi royal family would not hesitate to invite foreign enemies into the territory. But considering Delhi dynasty's operations, turning the land into a sea of flames and leaving it in ruins, if the Delhi royal family had any capability, they wouldn't have ended up in today's situation. Hence, this operation by the Delhi royal family seemed quite ordinary. With this thought, Su Jie retracted his imposing presence, lifting the heavy burden off Ji Wen, who visibly sighed in relief. What Su Sect Master said is very true. The esoteric Buddhism, to promote its so-called Buddhist law, uses any means necessary. Ji Wen nodded repeatedly. Those who didn't know might think he was a subordinate of Su Jie. It must be said that he played his role well, knowing when to say what. Esoteric Buddhism, those bald donkeys really dare to overstep into Delhi dynasty, never giving up their intent to overthrow my country. How can the royal family be so muddle-headed as to ally with those scheming bald-headed men? This is digging their own grave. On the other side, hearing Ji Wen's words, Qin Yushang's eyebrows arched in anger, slamming the table, her bosom heaving as though waves surged, seeming 10 times more furious than Su Jie himself. As the White Tiger Hall master, stationed in the western region of Dali dynasty, Qin Yushang was most aware of what kind of wretches the esoteric Buddhism bunch were, naturally furious at the Delhi royal family's act of inviting wolves into the house. Whether Su Jie lived or died remained unknown, but once the 3 great divine monks entered the borderlands, they would likely linger in Qingzhou without leaving. By then, the recently stabilized southern Delhi dynasty might once again be overwhelmed by Buddhist calamity, leaving countless civilians as mindless puppets and shattering a great situation in an instant. At the thought of such a scenario, the rigid and unyielding Qin Yushang wanted nothing more than to rush straight into the imperial city, grabbing the emperor by the collar and fiercely questioning him about the rationale of bringing foreign soldiers to harm his own citizens. Even if Su Jie had 10,000 faults, he was still a local force of Delhi dynasty. How could they invite external forces to intervene in their own country? What angered Qin Yushang most was this. So, isn't your heavenly patrol department working for the Delhi royal family? Since the royal family wants to use esoteric Buddhism to eliminate me, why did your heavenly patrol department leak the information and collude with me, a member of the demon path? Su Jie tapped the table and suddenly questioned the heavenly patrol department's motives. Their intentions might not solely be to exchange for Qin Yushang, and besides, how do they know that I will keep my word and agree to release Qin Yushang? Ji Wen paused for a moment, then replied, Su Sect Master, the royal family is the royal family, and the Heavenly Patrol Department is the Heavenly Patrol Department. More accurately, the Heavenly Patrol Department nominally works for the Imperial Authority, but that does not mean our director, Zhang Qingsong, has to fully obey all of His Majesty's orders. Su Jie smiled at these words and said to Qin Yushang beside him, Miss Qin, it seems I was right. Your Heavenly Patrol Department has its own ideas. Qin Yushang's emotions fluctuated, unsure of how to respond to Su Jie's question. In the past, Su Jie had questioned the relationship between the Heavenly Patrol Department and the Delhi royal family. At that time, Qin Yushang's stance was firm, stating that the Heavenly Patrol Department was on the side of the imperial authority. But now it seems that she was too young, not understanding the true direction of the Heavenly Patrol Department. Ji Wen cupped his hands towards Su Jie and said, Although you are of the demon path, our Heavenly Patrol Department has studied your deeds, and you are not quite the same as the usual demon path. More often, the things you do are things the government couldn't accomplish. Honestly speaking, compared to Su Sect Master, our Heavenly Patrol Department has more animosity towards esoteric Buddhism. So we hope Su Sect Master can survive, and we don't want esoteric Buddhism to run rampant on our land. Ji Wen's words carried some genuine sincerity. The Heavenly Patrol Department did conduct a detailed investigation of Ghost Ridge Palace's actions in Qingzhou. The unexpected result was that under the rule of Ghost Ridge Palace, the local people lived in peace and prosperity, far better than those in other regions under the Delhi dynasty. At the very least, they were spared the suffering of famine, which was already more than what most large regions achieved. This was something the Delhi dynasty's government should have done themselves but failed to accomplish. Now a member of the demon path is doing better than the government comparatively. The one who should feel ashamed should be the Delhi dynasty government. Letting Su Jie, a member of the demon path, occupy the southern 3 states, considering the people of the world, is the best choice. Of course, for the imperial authority, this is an extremely lousy choice. For this, the Delhi royal family would rather borrow foreign troops than let Ghost Ridge Palace remain. Haha! Your Heavenly Patrol Department understands the reasoning better than I thought. Su Jie somewhat admired the director of the Heavenly Patrol Department, Zhang Qingsong. By not blindly following orders from the imperial authority, this act seems to severely damage the interests of the imperial authority, but it provides a better explanation to the world. Su Sect Master, this is the sincerity of our Heavenly Patrol Department. Can you return Hall Master Qin to us? Seeing that Su Jie was in a good mood, Ji Wen seized the opportunity to propose the exchange for Qin Yushang. Su Jie gestured to Qin Yushang and said, "From now on, Miss Qin, you are free. Go back to your Heavenly Patrol Department." The important information provided by the Heavenly Patrol Department was quite valuable for Su Jie, allowing him to prepare in advance. Qin Yushang evidently couldn't exchange for the Hollow Realm inheritance he desired, so keeping her served no purpose. It was better to exchange for a favor from the Heavenly Patrol Department. There might be a need for the Heavenly Patrol Department in the future, so there's no need to make them a dead enemy. Thank you, Susect Master. We at the Heavenly Patrol Department accept this goodwill. The next time you visit Daly City, you must come to our Heavenly Patrol Department as a guest. Ji Wen's face turned joyful, quickly standing up and bowing to Su Jie. With the exchange for Qin Yushang completed, his main mission here was accomplished. Although Su Jie captured Qin Yushang, after all, Su Jie is a Purple Mansion Realm devil. In the Tianyuan world, power is fundamental. If it were a Taoist platform realm doing such a thing, the Heavenly Patrol Department would have executed them and their entire family at once. Since Su Jie's strength was recognized, for the Heavenly Patrol Department, having one more friend is better than having one more enemy. If I visit your Heavenly Patrol Department as a guest, I'm afraid I won't be able to come back out. Su Jie shrugged, but indeed he had thoughts of visiting Daly City. What are you talking about, Susect Master? Although there's still a wanted order, our Heavenly Patrol Department considers Susect Master as a friend. Ji Wen smiled awkwardly and waved to Qin Yushang. Yushang, quickly thank Susect Master. Pack up and come back with me to the Heavenly Patrol Department. And don't forget the guidance Susect Master gave you all these days. I'm not leaving. However, Qin Yushang suddenly said something surprising. What? Ji Wen's expression was stunned, looking incredulously at Qin Yushang. The Heavenly Patrol Department worked hard for her freedom, yet Qin Yushang was ungrateful. Could there possibly be someone who enjoys being a captive? Su Jie looked at Qin Yushang curiously, wondering if this person might have Stockholm Syndrome? Yushang, don't speak nonsense. Hurry back with me. The director is still waiting to see you. Ji Wen got anxious, giving Qin Yushang a knowing look. Now is not the time to be capricious. Does she really think that Su Jie is a benevolent person? His fierce reputation is well known. If one day he suddenly acts chaotically, Qin Yushang would have no chance to resist. Uncle Ji, I know what I'm saying and I'm serious. Qin Yushang took a deep breath and solemnly said, Uncle Ji, I am the White Tiger Hall Master, stationed in the Western Territories, monitoring, investigating, and resisting the infiltration of esoteric Buddhism is my primary duty. Now that esoteric Buddhism is advancing towards Qingzhou, if I, the White Tiger Hall Master, foolishly flee back to Daly City, I would be ashamed of my title as the White Tiger Hall Master. I cannot turn a blind eye to the intrusion of esoteric Buddhism. Since esoteric Buddhism wants to invade, I must appear on the front line of the battle. This is my responsibility as the White Tiger Hall Master. Qin Yushang's eyes were firm, and her beautiful, fair face lacked the usual delicacy of women, instead brimming with heroic spirit. Her courage and intellect surpassed most men. One must know, staying here means facing the three great divine monks. With her cultivation at the seventh realm of Taoist platform, although already top tier in the Dili dynasty, she is still far from being a match against the divine monks at the Purple Mansion realm. TSK, are you sure you want to stay here? You might die, you know? Su Jie looked at Qin Yushang with great surprise. He hadn't expected that Qin Yushang would make such a choice. However, Su Jie recalled Qin Yushang's fierce temperament, who would rather commit suicide than suffer the humiliation of being sold at an auction. It seemed this was indeed in line with her character. Esoteric Buddhism is my enemy. If even a devil like you dares to oppose esoteric Buddhism, naturally our Heavenly Patrol Department does too. If I were to run away, wouldn't that mean that our Heavenly Patrol Department lacks the courage that even a devil possesses? I would rather risk my life to prove the importance of our Heavenly Patrol Department in defending the Daly dynasty, lest esoteric Buddhism thinks our department has no one. Qin Yushang gritted her teeth, locking eyes with Su Jie without flinching. It sounded like a suicide mission, not a choice a smart person would make. Yet it was precisely Qin Yushang. In turbulent times, there are always too many so-called smart people who are afraid of death. But there are also foolish people who charge forward without hesitation, knowing full well it might lead to their demise. But often, it is the existence of such foolish people that upholds the spine of a country. Miss Qin, with such righteous claims, have you not thought that I might fight the 3 great divine monks to the death rather than simply escape? Wouldn't that align with the intentions of the Dali dynasty? Then you would face the 3 great divine monks battling a mere little cultivator of the 7th realm of Taoist platform. Su Jie looked at Qin Yushang with a sardonic expression, his eyes playful. You! A trace of bewilderment flashed in Qin Yushang's eyes. Indeed, Su Jie had been reminded that he could simply run away in advance, without needing to fight esoteric Buddhism to the bitter end. Wait, you won't do that. Qin Yushang shook her head. She couldn't quite explain it, but somehow she believed that Su Jie wouldn't run away. Why wouldn't I do that? Do you know me well? I am a demon cultivator. I don't care about appearances. Living is everything. On the contrary, you'd be pitiful. I think esoteric Buddhism would not show mercy to you, the White Tiger Hall master opposing them, right? Then you'd suffer gravely, dying without meaning. If you ask me, your life is what's important, so you should return to the Heavenly Patrol Department. Su Jie replied with interest, while Ji1 on the opposite side grew more anxious. Yushang, did you hear? Come back to the Heavenly Patrol Department with me. If not for yourself, think about the director's sincere intentions. Ji1 was so anxious he was nearly at his wit's end. He knew Qin Yushang's temperament. Once she decided on something, not even 10 oxen could drag her back. But he was even more unwilling to see Qin Yushang, whom he had watched grow up, sacrifice herself in vain. In Ji Wen's view, Su Jie's choice to flee was highly likely. After all, facing the 3 great divine monks, Su Jie's odds seemed slim. Even if Su Jie was reputed as the blood demon ancestor with the blood sea devouring sky demon skill, the Buddha path greatly restrains such evil techniques. It would be hard to gain an advantage, let alone being outnumbered 3 to 1. Uncle Ji, my decision is made. You needn't persuade me any longer. Qin Yushang's expression was particularly solemn as she looked at Su Jie, saying firmly, Su Jie, you are no ordinary devil. You certainly wouldn't abandon the hard-won foundation to become a deserter. Fine, even if you abandon the 3 states and flee, Qin Yushang, accept it. At worst, it's just a death. We must at least show esoteric Buddhism that there are still people in the Dali dynasty resisting. My death is not as meaningless as you claim. Su Jie gazed at Qin Yushang, and her bright eyes locked onto him. The two stared at each other for over 10 seconds, the atmosphere growing particularly tense and oppressive. Ha ha! Suddenly, Su Jie slowly stood up, his tiger-like gaze sharp and intense, laughter erupting like a storm, carried by a thick, strong wind that made the world solemn and cleared the skies. Miss Qin, you really guessed it right. It's not I who should fear running. It's esoteric Buddhism. If esoteric Buddhism dares to cause trouble in Qingzhou, I'll ensure they understand the terrifying prowess of the demon path and beat them until their Buddhas vanish without a trace. Su Jie revealed a set of gleaming white teeth, his eyes like a hawk's, his laughter wild and unrestrained, his words overwhelmingly domineering, viewing esoteric Buddhism as mere clay chickens and straw dogs. Ji1 was awed by Su Jie's imposing manner, muttering to himself, "It's over, another one has gone mad. I'll stand by you." Qin Yushang rose with Su Jie, her face revealing a smile for the first time, a smile like the blooming of morning glories, brightening the entire room. Then let's see if Buddhism stands taller than a foot or if demon reigns higher by 10. I hope those so-called divine monks will give me something to strive for. Su Jie patted Qin Yushang on the shoulder, acknowledging her somewhat. Although she was fiercely bound by her character and not as adept at flexibility in facing defeat, unlike Su Jie, who would flee if necessary, this steadfastness was considered rare by him. Being patted on the shoulder by Su Jie, Qin Yushang's eyes fluttered slightly, a bit unaccustomed to this somewhat familiar interaction. Yet, thinking of the possibility of fighting side by side, she felt at ease. Follow me, and victory is guaranteed. Su Jie retracted his hand, leaving behind these words. Su Jie had reason for his confidence. On the surface, it looked like the three great monks were fighting Su Jie alone at the Purple Mansion, but the world didn't know that Su Jie also had a 9th grade Fierce Ghost and a top grade 9 Refinement Gu Worm. The outside world still had the impression of Han Rian and Xiao Qian as an 8th grade Fierce Ghost and 8 Refinement Gu Worm respectively. In actual combat, it wasn't really a 3 versus 1, but a 3 versus 3. Su Jie didn't believe he would lose. Despite his tendency to bully the weak and his fondness for attacking those old, weak, sick, and disabled righteous cultivators, Su Jie had never lost a fight on the same level. Even battles one level higher were easy for him. Back when Su Jie was still at the Yunling Realm and Secret Realm, many so-called immortal seed prodigies died at Su Jie's hands. Now, having advanced to the middle stage of the Purple Mansion realm, his physical combat power unparalleled, wielding the Blood Sea devouring Sky Demon skill, along with various innate spiritual objects and spiritual treasures at his disposal, Su Jie couldn't fathom how he could lose. Yushang, what should I say about you? Why are you so stubborn? Su Jie wasn't wrong when he said it just now. Only by living can you have everything, while death leaves you with nothing. You're too impulsive. Upon leaving the guest hall, Jiwen looked at Qin Yushang, his face full of frustration and disappointment. Qin Yushang was the most outstanding genius of her generation in the Heavenly Patrol Department, with the potential to reach the Purple Mansion realm in the future. If she successfully advanced, the Heavenly Patrol Department would have 3 Purple Mansion cultivators in charge, greatly increasing its influence. But if Qin Yushang were to die here, he wouldn't know how to explain it to Zhang Qingsong. Uncle Ji, my decision is made. Please don't try to persuade me anymore. Qin Yushang, feeling a bit helpless, knew Ji-Wen was looking out for her, and could only say, I've already explained the necessity of my staying here. As for the director, I will personally write a letter and trouble Uncle Ji to deliver it to him, ensuring you aren't put in a difficult position. Sai, what I'm concerned about is, I'm worried something might happen to you here. I've watched you grow up, and I don't want to see an older person burying a younger one. Uncle Ji, please don't worry too much. Qin Yushang hesitated for a moment, her gaze once again turning determined. Su Jie, this devil, has risen all the way from the prosperous Qing Zhou of righteous sects, so his strength shouldn't be as simple as it seems on the surface. By staying here, it's not necessarily going to be dangerous. What did Su Jie do to bewitch you into risking your life with him? Could it be that you've fallen for him? Though Ji-Wen said it casually, it struck Qin Yushang like a great bell, causing her heart to tremble. Uncle Ji, you're overthinking it. I'm just fulfilling my duty. There's no way I could have feelings for a devil. Qin Yushang denied sternly, completely rejecting such a notion. I really can't understand what you're thinking at all. Fine, I can't convince you. Just be careful here. If anything goes wrong, remember to run away. As long as the Green Hills remain, there's no fear of running out of firewood. Facing Qin Yushang, who was resolute about staying, Ji-Wen knew he couldn't persuade her, nor was he capable of forcibly taking Qin Yushang away, as the difference in strength was vast. After Qin Yushang left behind a letter, Ji-Wen could only smile wryly as he turned to leave, planning to report the situation here to Director Zhang Qingsong as soon as possible. Watching Ji-Wen's departing figure, Qin Yushang instinctively touched her face, her cheeks slightly flushed. Her heartbeat had accelerated upon hearing the word, like, from Ji-Wen's mouth. I just fear Uncle Ji misunderstanding that I stayed because I like him. But how could that be? As the White Tiger Hall Master of the Heavenly Patrol Department, I'm determinately opposed to evil. Yes, that's it. Qin Yushang thought internally, explaining her body's reaction from earlier to herself.